Hello and welcome, folks. Today we're going to be watching all 3 hours of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. That's a long title. They should have just called it Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman. You know what? They could have just called it Dawn of Justice.
Dawn of Justice. Oh yeah,
Now,
they could.
this is not the
Uh,
much maligned theatrical version, which has a hell of a lot of plot holes.
is Wonder
Basically,
Woman the V? Because they didn't put her in the title. It's Batman v Superman. So is she like the
because
V?
no, because that's a court thing. You're joking, right?
No, I'm totally joking. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was just looking at the poster on iTunes where I got it from, or the Apple TV store, or whatever it's called. And it has the three of them on the poster. So I thought, oh, she's not in the title.
Uh, do you have your copy ready?
It says 2 more minutes. We got to stall for 2 more minutes. Is there anyone
Two more
here in
minutes.
the audience?
No, there's nobody here yet.
Oh,
So why do you have Tyler Hecklin as your avatar? You got
because
something against Henry Cavill? Hmm?
that is the true, the true Superman right there. No, I have Tyler Hecklin on because I'm enjoying his version of Superman the most right now. So he is the true one for me.
Why did you say that name? It was Tyler Hecklin.
my mom's name, my
Your name
mom's
is
name is
Clark
Martha.
Clint.
Yes,
Your name is Kal El
Clark
or
Kent.
So
Hello. My mama's name is Martha. By the way, what is your mom's name? Mine is Angelina.
Mine is Darlene.
Oh, that's such a great name, Darlene. I think
Um,
Darlene would like me.
Now, unlike last time, when if Toddy comes in here talking about the Expanse and Kim's Convenience and all that
I
stuff,
know, my
we gotta
God.
we can't go off into like seven different other things because then whoever is lucky enough to be watching the whole commentary the whole way through will
They're
be
not
like,
gonna
why are
know
these
what that
guys all of a
is.
sudden talking about the Expanse and all this other stuff? So
Well, you could do a
let's
that
try to
says,
keep it to the movie. I know I did talk about Superman and Lois a little bit. You can veer off a little bit, but I'm talking about like way other different subjects that have nothing to do with this comic book movies. It's like let's leave it off.
all right, all right. I think I only talked about the movie yesterday, by the way, just FYI. I don't know, I have to go back and look, but except for the time that Toddy came on. That was the only time I really veered, where I was like,
Oh yeah,
great.
he has no respect. That
He
Toddy
has never said.
just comes in. He's like, I'm watching Kim's Convenience. How about the Expanse? How about this and that? I was like, how about talk about the movie that we're talking about? Maybe contribute to the conversation, sir. Okay. Okay. I'm just kidding around. Okay. I'm assuming your copy is ready.
Hang on. Oh, thanks. That was really good stalling time. All right, it is ready. Let me press play. I hope it doesn't go full screen. Let's see here. Let's see what happens. Oh, good. It doesn't go full screen. Yes, nice. Okay,
Uh, hi,
I
I
am.
don't.
I'm ready to
What
start
we
whenever you are.
there's no way we could have video on this because nobody can do that.
No,
This
I think
work.
it would get take. Oh,
Like
I thought.
literally nobody can have video during a commentary. It's never done.
I think blue means like us, like on camera. I'll just say hi real quick for blue.
Oh no, no, I'm not attractive enough to be on camera.
You're
I'm not
very
doing
attractive. You're
this.
extremely attractive. Anyways, there you go, blue.
There,
Now you saw me.
and also, if I were to appear on video, I would be flagged for ugliness.
Oh my God, you're very handsome. Have you looked at yourself in the mirror? Like, if you don't mind my
What is
saying
a
so.
mirror?
If you don't mind my saying so, you should look at yourself in the mirror. You're a very handsome chap,
I look at myself.
gentleman.
I look at myself every night and I say, "You got a pretty mouth." All right, let's cue it
That's a
up.
really good Ben
Deliverance
Affleck.
impression.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's really good though.
Um, okay,
Oh, I'm having a beer, by the way.
cool.
Mm.
So, is your 5 year old version of the movie downloaded yet?
It is, and I we should tell everyone who's gonna sync up that we're about to sync up, right?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm at the 0 mark.
I'm at the 0 mark. My full film is 3 hours, 2 minutes, and 36 seconds. That's how long we're gonna stream for, folks.
Yep. Well, all right. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Say
Okay.
when.
Anybody want to queue up who's watching it
Yeah, let us
uh,
know if you're queuing it up, if
in
you're
the
queued
audience?
up.
And
Yep.
also, we're not on video for another reason, just so nothing freezes up or you know what I mean.
Yeah, the
Although
bandwidth is better.
if I froze up and got kicked off, you'd still be here, so I could still come back. So yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
my laptop is getting old now. It's 7 years old.
Oh, we got to get PJ like
No,
something
no,
going.
no.
Don't
I'm
you have
good.
that on your channel? We got to figure it out.
No, I'm good.
All right, all right.
All right, we're gonna queue up the movie now. So on the after five, I'll say five. Countdown on five, and then I'll say go.
Okay.
Five, four, three, two, one, go. Warner Brothers logo leaves. Rat
Oh, I
Pack
can turn my lights
Entertainment.
off. Rat Pack Entertainment.
DC Comics logo. More leaves. It's like the opening of Forrest Gump.
There was a
There's
time
a time
above.
above. Yes, there you
There's a
go.
time
We're
below.
synced up.
Diamond absolutes. Thanks, fall. Oh, I dimmed the lights in my room so I can see it better. Wayne Manor in the background. Sounds really good. Dun. Thank you, Earl Grey Trekkie. You're beautiful too.
Now, this is the whole thing where he's about to fall down the well and the bats, you know, levitate him. That
Hmm.
has to be the dream element of it. I can't believe that even in this fantastical world that the bats did that. We're not at that part yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I interpreted that as his memory of it. And when you're a kid, sometimes you can imagine really extraordinary things and remember them that way. I remember flying when I was a kid, don't you, PJ? When you played pretend?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I knew the difference between dreams and reality when I was a child.
yeah. I don't know if I did.
Apparently, Bruce Wayne didn't. I don't know.
I don't think I did
I'd say
either.
that I'd say just because he says it like that was the dream. He says at the end. We're almost. Well, what did you think of this like retelling of the death of his parents? Was it necessary or like?
Interestingly enough, I did think it was unnecessary. Like I could cut it out. Like if I'm trying to save time on the film, I would actually just cut all of this out, I guess. Um, but I liked it from the visual perspective because it kind of reminded me of the Tim Burton one, which is the one that I always remember. Yeah, this is very like like a fantasy montage, isn't it? The music's beautiful. It's very
Yeah,
moving.
I know people were sick of it at this point, seeing like his parents die over and over again and everything. But this particular shot coming up with the pearls, like he shoots her like point blank right in the face. Like that's
Oh yeah, it is pretty sick. Oh yeah.
and how the pearl. That's how the pearls go everywhere.
I
Because
like
they're
that they didn't show it though. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
I appreciate that
obviously
about it. But yeah, look, when you watch the actual shots, there's no doubt of what just happened. So that's interesting. I never thought of that before. It's funny, I never noticed that before.
it's not that long a sequence, and I think it's there. I mean, everybody knows about it, but it's
Everybody
just
knows.
it's just to beat into the audience's head that this Bruce Wayne character we're gonna meet in this movie, he's at a point now where he's been traumatized. Well, he got the trauma of his parents, but he's been doing this for 20 years, and he's a sick man. They make no bones about it. People don't like this version of Batman for that reason. Not everybody. I mean, like some people. But yeah, he's the Batman who kills. He straight up murders people. He has no regard for life. He's drinking. He's sleeping with random women. He's popping painkillers. He's a drug addict, basically.
It's a very similar treatment to what he did to Superman, but even I guess more in the darker, which is fitting for Batman, I guess. You can go darker in the Gotham world, and it's always been like that, where like Metropolis is always brighter and happier, and Smallville's like, bright and happy, and then Gotham's always been kind of dark and dreary and crime,
It's like it's
crime
like they
riddled and horrible things happen there.
it's like daytime in Metropolis, and they look over at the harbor, and it's all like dark, and Gotham's like, why is it always like that over there?
That's funny. They're not twin cities though, right? They're like far. It's like New York and Chicago or New York. It's always been like, I think Gotham's always been kind of associated with like a
They're right next to each other. Like they're
are they in the comics? It's like you could
no, no.
see
I
Gotham.
have no.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You're
not
just
having
making
a
that
comic
up.
book discussion because I can't compare any. I can only can watch a movie as a movie. I don't say did this happen or did this not happen in
I
the comics.
see. I
Like
see.
Doomsday, for example. I found out after I watched this movie originally in theaters that I never cared for Doomsday. I always thought I really wanted to see Doomsday kill Superman in a movie, and when it happened, I was like, okay, sure. And the fact that they changed his origin didn't. I don't care. There's 100 other iterations they're gonna do of that story eventually. They've already done it in the animated movies, and there's a movie called Batman and Superman Apocalypse with where they fight a bunch of Doomsdays. I like this. What did you think? This was a cool move showing Bruce Wayne's perspective. I thought this is one of the most clever things about the movie. It was a response to what was it like from the human being's perspective.
Um, yeah, I think I liked it even more because it like gave that alternate perspective, and again, like I said yesterday, I was bought into the motivation of Batman hating Superman, so that part about the story I like. This is crazy, but a little better than it was in if that I don't know how far apart were the films released.
3 years.
Uh 3 years, yeah. It looks like it.
Yeah, the visual effects are definitely better than Man of Steel in this movie, just in general.
Yeah.
Although
Like
the CGI Batmobile is god awful.
I don't remember it actually. Oh, actually I
Oh,
do,
it's
I
so
think. Yeah.
bad. It's so bad. It's one of those things where it's like if you're gonna do CG, man, just don't make it look cartoony. That's one of the things Zack Snyder. It's more of a style thing. It's like he'll sacrifice the realism of how it looks for how the frame, how the frame would look itself in any given shot. He wants to imitate those comic book panels. He's very faithful. Like there is a shot of Batman in here. It looks just like
Look, did you see that insanity? That's what Amy McAdams, or I mean sorry, Lois, I should call her Lois. That's what Lois is falling through right now, right?
yeah.
Like
She,
basically
she's
that's
falling down from there.
she
Yeah.
didn't get knocked into it like into pulp by that explosion, that like pulse. It's like, come on. I think Lois is Superwoman. She's hiding
He
it. Oh, there it
and
is.
some
This is what
and
you're
it's and
talking
it
about.
skipped it skipped past where he saved her, and now it's gone straight to the part where there's a very good edit where it's called the Metropolis edit or something like that,
Hmm,
and it intersplices scenes from Man of Steel and
right.
this movie with perfect timing.
The other thing that's sad about this scene is that that because of Bruce Wayne's character, that Wayne Enterprises is like a super stand-up corporation. Like it probably does like really great things, whatever it does. Do we know what they do? Is it software? Like, like and so it's just sad because it's
Mergers
just
and acquisitions. There you go.
no, I think it's like insane stuff, including weapons, maybe, but maybe like anti-weapon or something like that. I just imagine Bruce Wayne being he is like a Tony Stark in the DC world. In a sense, they're like mirrors of each other.
Yeah.
And so it really was kind of like it's like I definitely want to work for Bruce Wayne if I were just like a worker in Gotham, like a tech worker or whatever. So this is kind of like, as someone who's been in the corporate world and worked for, I currently work for a great company. They're like, it's insane. I always think I'm dreaming and I pinch myself, but So I always imagine like if something horrible happened like that to my company, I'd be really bummed about it.
Yeah. Now this guy here, Wally, is it Wally?
Yeah,
Uh, he gets a bigger part in this version,
that's right.
and you understand his motivations more.
He climbs that statue. I remember. You're right.
And
Oh man.
he drops the f bomb that's in this movie.
Boom. I'm Batman. It's okay. I'm Batman. Ben Affleck's great in this scene actually as Bruce Wayne being like really affected and compassionate. And I don't know,
It's
I
really
just noticed
yeah.
that he has the little gray side hairs, so he's definitely older Bruce Wayne than
He's
we've
playing
seen.
older than he actually was at the time. He's playing a
Yeah,
Batman
exactly.
in his early 50s or something like that.
Wow,
I
that's
suppose it
intense.
was part of the reason so he could age into the part well, but that didn't work out eventually. I guess. And of course, this is where
I
he's
would
like,
give
"Those bastards! I'm gonna get you, Superman, if it's the last thing that I do."
I would give Ben Affleck another Batman film before I would give Henry Cavill, no
Now we're
offense because I love
18
Henry
months later,
Cavill,
folks. 18 months
another
later.
Superman film. Oh, this was funny. That like the that humans are already salvaging the wreck of I love this scene. The fatal kryptonite at last. Yeah, Earl Grey Trek says I think the films have been progressively worse. Superman, Donner Era, Superman Returns, Man of Steel, Justice League. I think it's more ups and downs, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Superman Returns is a good film at all. It tries to be a sappy superhero love story and it doesn't even do that well.
I don't know why I love
And
seeing kryptonite. It's so pretty.
so here is the Africa scene that in the theatrical or the irrelevant cut, as I call it, uh, is not fleshed out at all. There's a lot of what goes on here that you don't see in the theatrical cut, and it leaves you wondering what the hell happened for the whole movie because you're like, Superman's being blamed for something, but you don't show what the hell he's being blamed for. You just say it, and you have to like imagine what happened, but it's not really clear. I remember a lot of people being confused about like what happened in Africa. Like it wasn't clear. Like yes,
I've
he
only
was
seen this
blamed for
cut,
people
so
he was blamed for people dying, but you don't see in what context. Like how was he framed? Like there was none of that.
I've only seen this cut since the theater. Like I saw the theatrical release and then I saw this cut. I've seen this cut probably more times, so I don't remember any of that. So unfortunately, I don't remember being confused, but I remember not liking the film and then liking it more when I saw it
And
later.
and
I
and
was
here's
really
the thing.
disappointed with Jimmy Olsen, and I wonder if they cut it out because he didn't read well with audiences at the time. It could
No, it
have
had
been.
nothing to do with that. It had
I hated this Jimmy
every
Olsen.
single
Like, yeah, I was actually like really opposed to this whole portrayal of Jimmy
yeah.
Olsen like as a CIA agent and
This
not
version,
a
yeah,
photographer
they
for
didn't.
a newspaper.
Yeah, they didn't cut him out for because he's a douche because he's perfectly fine in the movie. But
No,
uh,
he's totally portrayed wrong as well. The actor's very nice looking and
he's
handsome,
a
but
throwaway
he's
Jimmy Olsen. He's
it's yeah, that's disrespectful in my opinion. Like Jimmy
it,
Olsen's like
but
a main character of Superman in my opinion and deserves like an arc and a story and all that. And so
I
it
can't
is
remember.
this was an affront to my sensibilities, if you will.
I don't know.
I,
I don't know if that actor offended you somehow. I don't know what he
no, no,
did
no.
to
The whole
you.
the
I'm
way Jimmy
joking.
Olsen
Yes,
is
I know.
written
He's
and
not
made,
Jimmy
yeah.
Olsen. He's a
No,
throwaway
they
Jimmy
say
Olsen
How do you say?
put in there to be a CIA agent, and Zack Snyder was like, well, "Why don't we just Jimmy Olsen? There you go, we got our Jimmy Olsen." And by the way, they did direct con Jenny Olsen. Remember, Jenny Olsen was supposed to be the female version of Jimmy Olsen,
Sure, sure, but it's
and now introducing Jimmy Olsen, who's not her brother, by the way. He's just another guy
yeah,
with the name
that's
Olsen.
I 100% believe this is if this was cut out of the theatrical release, that's probably the reason why. Is people reacted. I'm sure lots of
No,
people
no,
reacted like
actually, I'll clarify that right now. Everything that was cut out, the 30 minutes, the theatrical cut is 2 hours and 30 minutes, right? And this is 3 hours and 3 minutes. The entire reason anything was cut out of this version was time. They would not let him have a 3 hour theatrical movie. And this is the version that was shaved down as much as he possibly could. You know what I mean? For him to take, from his point of view, Zack Snyder's point of view, to take anything out of this, this is the this is not even his director's cut. You know what I mean? Like, I think if Zack Snyder was given free reign like it was with Justice League, there would be a four. Actually, there is a. He did say back in the day there is a 4 hour version of Batman v Superman, but the 3 hour version is as shaved down as you can get it, with all the essential story elements there for the audience to understand all the different plot threads. And yes, you could argue that there are way too many characters and plot threads. Like, there's a character in this.
They could have at
Who
least made it up to us by not killing Jimmy Olsen and Superman appearing before his
Jimmy
death.
Olsen's irrelevant now. He's dead. He's got his brains blown out.
Yeah, that's why I hate this scene. I understand what you're saying, but it's still I think this was a dumb choice
By the way,
for fans of Superman. For people who love Superman, not
do
even
you think
fans.
they'll show Jimmy Olsen, the same Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl in Superman and Lois? I don't want to get off topic. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Wait, do you think do I think Jimmy Olsen will show up on Superman and Lois? Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy from Supergirl, same actor.
Oh, I don't watch Supergirl, so I don't
Oh,
know who
okay, never
plays
mind.
Jimmy Olsen on Supergirl.
Anyway, there's a character in this called Zahina Aziri, and she's the one who says Superman doesn't even answer to God, I think, or something like that.
Mm.
And her family was killed in this whole thing. Oh, by the way, Superman's about to murder a dude. Totally justifiably, I think, because, dude was going to blow Lois's head off, and it hasn't happened yet. But this whole stuff where they're burning the bodies, this was never shown, so, like, you didn't know what the hell they were talking about in court. But the character, Ziri, they use her to kind of create a false narrative against Superman. And it's not clear whether she believes her or she was coaxed, but she feels guilt at some point in the film, and the guy, KGB Beast, pushes her off the subway platform, which is not in the theatrical cut, by the way. So her story in the theatrical version is very confusing. It's like
Uh,
because you don't know what she saw, and you don't know her motivations. But in this, her motivations are very clear. Except for at the beginning, you're kind of like, okay, does she believe Superman did this, or is she being coached? And you find out, yeah, she was framing him. She was helping frame him. She's probably giving some money or something.
I don't remember any of that plot thread. That's funny.
Take one step, and you will see the inside of her head. I'll be like, he's like, oh, you didn't fucking just say that, motherfucker. You're about to die.
Is his uniform different? Like his costume different? I think it's different.
It's brighter in this.
Yeah.
People debate like, okay, he didn't kill him though. He just put him through a wall. I'm sorry. In Zack Snyder's universe, he tends to. He doesn't obey the laws of physics so much, but he does obey the laws of, like, how if someone, like in this version, like when Batman is fucking people up, he's like crushing skulls, dude. And they show the blood come out of the back of people's heads, or at least that one guy, and that's something they couldn't put in the PG-13 version. Like the actual consequences of violence, right? That's why that shot of Jimmy Olsen, I'm sure they shot it that way to because they just knew they couldn't do like a full on in your face headshot. Although I mean,
Yeah, this I
I
think
think
I
the
tune
MP.
out. I think I tend to tune out on the more. I think I'm watching it for the first time in a way because I definitely am averse to violence, and I tend to like tune out during violent scenes in movies, like that kind of violence, like that excessive violence. So yeah, everything you're saying makes sense, and I guess it's really poetic and beautiful. But I still think all of that is bullshit. That whole scene, and it should have been rewritten and refilmed, and it's garbage in my opinion.
Yeah, no mercy in the villages. So like now you know early on in the movie. Okay, this is how Superman was framed. I don't have to fucking wonder about it for the next 2 hours or hour and a half or
Right.
whatever, 2 hours.
Well, in my opinion, that scene actually doesn't add anything to the film. I'd like to see the theatrical cut now to see how confusing it
I
actually
like
is.
the way she says that line. Not even I think to God. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just
She's right.
yeah,
There's always there is an element of Superman if his power could be corrupted, that is always a danger to humanity. And he did go dark even in those. What was it in? It was in Superman 2 or 3 that he goes dark. It was 3, right?
yeah. Three is a silly movie. Yeah, he goes all weird. Yeah,
Three's the one
the
with
artificial
Richard
kryptonite.
Pryor. I love that one.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, but
Yeah.
it's not a serious movie in any stretch.
No, it's true. Or you get, I think it's yeah, it went into camp like way too much.
Yeah, it's Richard Lester's take on it.
Yeah.
Now we get our introduction to Batman here, which is cool because it's like he's almost like a nightmare creature.
Hmm. Yeah, the way he's hanging on the wall and stuff, I remember that clearly. And
And you know, when you see this version of the movie, you get a much clearer sense of how messed up Batman is. You know what I mean? They're kind of telling you, no, what he's doing is not cool. Some people may watch it and think, "Oh, I love this Batman. I love the fact that he does this and that and the other thing, and he's like
yeah, and
branding criminals." And
this
and
is like the fall of Batman in a way
it
that we
is,
witness in this movie, and he gets his redemption, I guess.
and
We'll
that's the,
find out in the Zack Snyder cut, the release that's coming through, how that'll
well,
play out.
he even he has an arc in this movie.
Hmm.
Wonder Woman not so much because she's kind of a side character. But Clark has an arc. Well, of course he has an arc. He dies at the end, but
Hmm.
uh, also we this in this version we understand why the criminals who are branded with this bat symbol why they die. There's no context for that in the. It's just like, oh, it's bad if criminals are branded. When you go to prison, you'll get messed up. That's it. And there's a very fleshed out reason. It like you understand that Lex Luthor is manipulating all of these events, right? Through his henchman KGB Beast mainly, and you don't get a sense of the process of that in the theatrical cut. But when you in this version, you actually see KGB Beast doing his tasks. There's more context for like exactly what kind of character is and his purpose in the film. When really in the theatrical cut, he's just kind of a henchman who's there from time to time, and
When did they say his name? I don't remember.
I don't think they actually say his name in the movie, but that's his
Oh, it's
character.
assumed that that's the character.
No, that is the
Oh, that
character.
is the character, like not assumed.
Like I think he's like maybe he has an actual name that they use. Let me look it up.
Mm.
KGB Beast, Batman v Superman. Yeah, his his personal name is Anatoly Kenevk. He's a Russian.
Mm.
and he's the actor is I think from New Zealand or New
Oh, okay.
Zealand. Calvin Mulvey. No, he's an Australian. Sorry,
Ah,
I didn't mean to
Sean's
get.
gonna get
I didn't mean to
Sean's gonna
get.
get
I know.
mad.
Oh God, I confused the Kiwis and the Aussies. I don't. I don't. I see. Also, like I've been. It's hard to remember the theatrical version now, but I don't think that blood part was in there. Which she's looking at the shirt.
Mm.
I think. And this, at least Zack Snyder's showing like the violent consequences of superheroes. Like
Well, yeah, this
it's not
fits.
this clean cut thing where like everybody's being saved. It's shit gets messed up. They overdo it in Man of Steel though. We did talk about that. Go ahead.
Although I
Sorry.
think interestingly enough, putting Batman as the headliner on the movie, even though it's called Batman versus Superman, it's definitely the two of their story. I just felt like this was the Zack Snyder introduction to Batman, so it's more of a Batman film for me. And I think that's where I was kind of willing to accept kind of like everything's darker. Like look at the tones in this bathroom are really dark right now, and stuff like that than they
Yeah.
are in Man of Steel. And so I just took it as meaning, okay, this is the Batman story, and it's suitably dark. I think Tim Burton made Batman dark. Like I always felt he was
When was the last time you watched this version?
this version.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, the theatrical cut. I remember when I watched that, I was thinking, wow, this is so much more a Batman movie than it is a
Than it is
Superman
a
movie,
Superman
right?
movie. Yeah.
And I didn't realize, but when I watched this version, Zack Snyder balances the characters fucking beautifully. Like you see so much more of actually Clark going out and figuring out shit about Batman, right? And oh yeah, see you later, Geek in Review. He's gone. Sorry, I'll get to the comments soon, but anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, you see him investigate Batman more and find out like you see Clark's motivation for why he doesn't like Batman, and you also, you understand why Bruce doesn't like Superman. But you also know that it brings more context to the final fight because Superman wants to say at first, "You got to listen to me." He wants to tell him about the situation, right?
This is
And
very
Batman,
romantic, by the way. So you're like, there's no romance. This is a hot scene. Just
I mentioned that yesterday. I said
oh, you said
they have a bathtub scene in this
yeah, but
movie.
you were like it. You felt nothing. This is hot. This is really weird. I'm feeling
I
something.
felt nothing.
Yeah, that's what you said. I thought yesterday.
No, no, no. We
Oh,
were
okay.
talking about. I was talking about the lack of sexual chemistry
Yeah, it's
between.
very sexy. That.
No, 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 no. You can't listen to me. I was talking about the lack of sexual chemistry between Amy Adams and Henry Cavill in Man of Steel, not this movie.
Oh, I see.
And
I
then
see. Yeah.
I said I said something along like they have a scene in this where they actually show that they have sex. But in Man of Steel, when I look at two of them, I can't see them do that. You know what I mean? So at least Zack Snyder shows us that they're getting down. Like it is romantic. It's not. It's not. It's not a. It's not a scene that is unnecessary. It brings context to their relationship. How do you like? How do you like Jeremy
Jeremy
Irons?
Irons. He's all right. He's like a. I love the. I love Jeremy Irons, and I love a lot of his parts that he's done. But this is not one of my favorites of his. I think Michael Caine did an amazing. Like a probably my favorite Alfred is Michael Caine. Whoever's left in the audience, who's your favorite Alfred from all the movies? Who's your favorite Alfred, PJ?
My favorite Alfred is Michael Caine.
I know he's so good, right? He's such a good Alfred.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Uh,
He had a diamond the size of a tangerine.
I really love Michael Caine. I do love the sexy scenes, Blue. Earl Grey Trekkie says definitely Michael Caine.
Now, I love the dialogue. I love Jeremy Irons as well, but the dialogue there's more of Alfred tell. I'm going by like faint memory with the theatrical cut, but I'm pretty sure there's more of Alfred telling Batman, "You're off the deep end" in so many words. Like he's very poetic just then about it, but he's just telling
Mm,
him, he's like, "You're not well. You're going to the dark side" in so many words. And Alfred is all on Superman's side. He doesn't see Superman the way that Bruce does. It's almost like Alfred watched the news and watched and like observed all the alien stuff and came to the determination that Superman did his best to stop it, and he did. And although there was unfortunately a lot of death involved, I think Alfred understands more that Superman is not the enemy, and he actually straight up says that in this movie.
yeah.
So we get
But he
Lex Luthor.
also but he also
Oh, go ahead.
keeps
Sorry.
he also keeps no, I was just gonna say he also keeps Bruce Wayne kind of grounded as much as he can because I think Bruce is ready to go, totally off the deep end. I
Exactly.
love this actor Jesse Eisenberg. I think he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but I do think that like making him Lex Luthor in this film seemed like typecasting on Zack Snyder's part. Maybe I don't know the story behind it. Maybe he really wanted this role, but I feel like he's just too associated with the Facebook movie and and Mark Zuckerberg, so it was hard to see Lex
Uh,
as
yeah.
like an original Lex. You know what I mean? I just kept thinking of that performance of Mark Zuckerberg. I think Earl
Now
Grey Trekkie said that too before, and so I agree with him.
that's a lot. A lot of people said that when this movie came out, and I understand. I did see that movie, and I don't see that. I don't see him as. I don't see the Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's a basket case in this movie. I think his character in The Social Network is like this. He's the true Lex Luthor if you think about it. His character so in that way, yes, I get like it's kind of you're casting this guy who played Mark Zuckerberg as another kind of young genius billionaire dude, and
Tech, not just a
yeah,
billionaire dude, but a
and
tech guy. That's the thing.
a
Like
tech guy.
if he were an eccentric billionaire and never stepped foot in his corporation and didn't want anything to do with it, but just like use the money from it, I think
Yeah.
that would have been a better take and a better use of Jesse Eisenberg because I'm sure he could have pulled off that. And I think he's doing it here. I agree with you that there is nuance in this performance and it's not like, exact, but I'm just saying the setting, again, it's just Zack
It is an
Snyder's.
awkward performance, isn't it?
Well, I like the performance in a different setting, is what I'm saying. Like, I would like the performance in a different setting. So again, if he weren't like if he were in his mansion chilling, even I would
Yeah.
like it better than it. Then it's just that tech environment. It's like unnecessary. It's like who cares where he gets his money from or what he does? We know he's an evil genius. Have him do
Um.
something really eccentric, like work at a McDonald's or something like where you wouldn't
Um.
even see him coming. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
something weird and cool and new, a really genuinely new take
Well,
on this character. It would have
he
been
has to
great.
get the stuff. So I mean, his position and his power is
He could
getting
still
him.
do all that. He could broker everything. He could also have made it into this, like, he could have been a master of disguise. Like, he should be a Moriarty to like both of these characters, like, and I don't think he is. Like, it just doesn't come across that way to me. The music's
he-
beautiful though.
He's a weird Lex Luthor. He's definitely different.
Yeah.
He doesn't annoy me as much as he does. He did when I first saw it. Like I was like, why is he all fucking like twitchy and? But you find out that, and also this cut makes Lex Luthor's character a bit better for a couple of reasons. You may not like his performance. I understand all that, and yeah, it's awkward. I get what he's going for, and I'm kind of used to it now. I'm kind of used to Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor at a point where I'd better not. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him continue, I guess, but
All right, Robbie.
Yeah, good night. Yeah, what did you think of that Jolly Rancher shit? I know a lot of people complained
I
about that.
actually was very intrigued by that. I liked
I was
the
distracted by that
sexy.
when it happened just then. I was just looking at it
I
like,
liked it. Whoa, this is like wow. Ooh, look at this. This is really good eye candy, I have to say. It's very steamy. All the all the Clark Kent scenes. I love it.
Now, see, this is Ziri, Mrs. Ziri, like blaming him again without knowing for a fact or just straight up lying. And this concerns Clark. I like how he's like, it's showing this. He's always like watching TV with a shitty look on his face, like, God damn, they're talking about me again. It's like they're shitting on me again. I just saved people from a burning building, and he's talking about crap about me again. Now this stuff here wasn't, him getting up on the thing and spray painting,
hmm
and
That
all
monument's
the
cool.
complaining about Man of Steel about the people dying and stuff, which is totally legit. There's nothing wrong with complaining about all the people dying because lots of people did die. But this, they're showing, they're at least trying to show the consequences and the mental toll it's taken on certain people's or survivors and stuff.
I don't
Not to
think
mention,
that I don't think that like oh you're saying in this cut rather than theatrical cut. Gotcha. You don't see this, you're saying, in the theatrical cut.
well, yeah, you don't see this particular part. Yeah,
I think
and
we can just ignore the
there's
I think
another
we can
scene
just
with him you
ignore
don't
the
see.
theatrical cut. It's like not worth it, it sounds like to like worry about it. It sounds like it was more trash than this.
And it's kind of like Zack Snyder's Justice League now. It's even people who don't like it are saying, yeah, the Joss Whedon one, you can kind of just forget about that now.
hmm
It's why go back to the inferior version of the movie? It's like I haven't seen Highlander 2. I'm just gonna talk about that for 1 second. But there's a Renegade edition that apparently is superior to the theatrical version because it actually changes plot elements and fixes continuity issues. So I'm like,
That's actually a really good comparison based on what you've been saying so far about the theatrical release, which I'm sorry I can't remember very well. But
yeah,
I
f
actually
that thing, eh?
Well, I actually love Highlander 2. Like I love it, love it, love it. Like it's one of my favorite films. And the version you're talking about, the cut that there's a cut. I don't know if the Renegade cut is the one. I can't remember anymore. But there's another cut. I used to call it the Zeist cut, the Zeist edition or whatever. But it might be the Renegade cut.
The Renegade cut apparently takes away their alien origin story.
Oh no, then I hate that version. I like the version with
Oh, you
Zeist.
like the theatrical
Yeah, I
cut? Okay.
like the alien. Yeah, I hate the Renegade version. That's right. I remember now. Okay, yeah. The version I like, there's an extended version of it that shows more of Zeist and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and that's the version I like.
Now, did you see that where Clark was like on the boat, and that's you get that sense of how far away Gotham is.
Mm,
It's just right over the water. It's not like right next to each other, but you know what I mean.
yeah, that's weird too. Then it wasn't like that that I can recall, but maybe it was. I don't have a lot of
No, they
background
just
knowledge on
invented
it.
the fact they invented Gotham and Metropolis being so close just for this movie's
Oh,
narrative,
okay, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
and also this scene. Uh, this
Oh, so
this
that's interesting. You're right because I just thought that like Wayne Enterprises was in a version of it, like a division of it was in the headquarters were in Metropolis or whatever, but I didn't realize they were that close. This is the first time I'm realizing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's Wayne. I'm assuming there's a Wayne Enterprises in Gotham and Metropolis, or
Yeah.
like yeah. That previous scene with the man with the scratch ticket who says
Mm-hmm.
he's got a new kind of mean in him.
Mm-hmm.
That's another part of this version of the movie that reiterates not only Clark's investigation into Batman, which is totally like clear, but you get another instance of somebody saying he's not, he ain't right.
Right.
And I
I
know
like
that I
this.
know that rubbed people the wrong way. I totally understand that, but I don't mind different versions of a same character. I don't mind having like a Batman that's. I don't mind having a Superman like the one you're displaying now, Tyler
Hmm.
Hoechlin's version. Love him as Superman and Clark Kent. Doesn't take anything away from my enjoyment of Henry Cavill
Oh
or
yeah, like you
You know what
could,
I mean?
I see that, like what you're saying, but overall, I think yesterday when we were watching Man of Steel, we like probably were enjoying it. I was enjoying it a lot more than I did, I think the last time I saw it or whatever.
Yeah,
But this movie, I'm enjoying like the performances and everything and like the takes and everything, but I have to say that I don't agree with this movie a lot more than I didn't agree with Man of Steel, you
yeah.
know? Like with the story.
I like how I like how Perry's like, you want to talk about this Batman dude? Like it's almost like Batman's irrelevant in old news. It's like, yeah, that psycho in the bat costume over there. Yeah, wait, who cares? Who cares about Bat? Oh well, and Clark's kind of trying to point out that like he ain't the same Batman. He's a straight up villain now,
Right.
and they do make it very clear that you can kind of view not only Lex Luthor as an antagonist, but Batman as an antagonist as well. But the kind of villain that thinks he's right, that kind of like righteous villain. Lex Luthor's
Right.
not that at all. He's straight up like he's got mental issues.
Just like
He really
I feel
does.
like
Like he's
yeah, I feel like he's always had kind of like an insane aspect to him in all the films I've seen so far.
it's a Riddler esque portrayal
But
of
what's consistent about Lex Luthor, I think that I've seen in all of the iterations is that he's also mean.
yeah.
Like
He's a
it's
mean
not
spirited motherfucker,
he's
isn't he?
a yeah he is, and that definitely comes across in Jesse Eisenberg's performance, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. He's just a little snot. Like these like I don't know. I understand why this is in the movie for narrative reasons, but I'm just not interested in his interaction with the senator and Holly Hunter, who's usually like a really great actor, is just I don't care for her part in this movie. She's kind of there to die later. That's all she's there for. And the Granny's peach tea. I don't know. I don't know if Zack Snyder got a pee fetish or whatever, but I just don't get any of that. And it's just one of those things.
I don't remember what you're talking
It's
about.
off putting. He puts it before the later scenes in before the building blows up. He puts a jar of piss on her desk. I don't know how anybody doesn't notice it for as long as it's there, but anyway,
Hmm.
this big yellow fucking jar of piss, like it's weird and
When
stupid.
does he do this?
Oh, you'll see. Man, you
Okay.
haven't seen this in a while. You forgot the jar of piss.
I don't think I ever noticed it the first time around because it's news
Granny,
to me.
it was a big fucking like thing that people made fun of
Oh, really?
this
That's
movie
funny.
for. It was one of the things that I think it's probably the one thing in this movie I think they could have cut out because it's only there to mess with her before she dies, and it's like why are you that messed up, Lex? All I hear is the voice of the mother from the Incredibles when I don't look at it.
Mm.
Now, kids.
Oh, because she says it here. She says, "I don't care if you fill a bucket with pee and call it Granny's peach tea."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus, you're right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he does that just to fuck with her before she dies, and
I didn't remember
he's
that.
not there to witness that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like one of
Hmm.
these things where the villain does something to somebody, and they don't even stick around to see the
Hmm.
result.
Right, right.
Like he couldn't obviously because it was going to blow up, but you know what I
I'd be
mean?
that kind of villain if I were a billionaire. I wouldn't need to see the people I wanted to suffer
It's
if I were
almost
a
as if
villain.
it's
You
almost
know,
as if
like,
yeah, it's almost as if the P jar was to mess with her was to have the audience laugh. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I don't
yeah.
find it funny because he's already weird. And when he does things like that, I'm just like, I don't know about you, Lex. Even like how he creates Zod and shit. Like he's all fucked up. Like, he's like a man possessed. Like he really is. And I guess at some point they hint at the fact that he's hearing voices, or maybe the mother box had an effect on him, or some shit,
Mm.
or something happened to him in the ship that made him hear Steppenwolf or Darkseid's voice or something.
Oh, interesting.
Because later in this movie is you see a scene where he's talking to Steppenwolf, right?
I don't remember any of that. That's crazy.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it.
No, you can spoil it. That's what we're doing. That I never liked.
The
The
CG bat thing.
the CG bad thing. Yeah,
Yeah, that sucked. See this? Like he's just what
popping
kind of
pills.
pill?
Yeah,
Popping pills and
painkillers. Oh, I like that brand. That's funny.
he's got a sweet pad though.
Yeah,
That's very modern bachelor.
it's in a shambles though. He's like such a mess right now. I do like it that it's set on a bog or a pond or whatever it is, a
It's
little lake.
it's post Wayne Manor, and I like that.
Hmm. It's probably on the grounds.
It's interesting to introduce the Batman that's already had a 20-year history as Batman.
Yeah, that was one of the pluses about the story.
And do you remember when Ben Affleck was cast? There were some people who didn't like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's this revisionist history now where you get these people who say, "I didn't mind Ben Affleck cast, but everyone else hated it." And people say, and if you said that you liked Ben Affleck at the time, you're just changing your opinion. There wasn't that much hate for Ben Affleck as Batman as many people remember. I think people kind of just like there was a couple of uh, Ben Affleck haters still, and you know where all the Ben Affleck hate stuff came from? It came from his shitty movies that he did in the early 2000s, and his relationship with J Lo and Geely and all this stuff that he did. He made a joke of himself with terrible choices, and what happened was he started directing movies like not Gone Baby Gone. What was his first one? Gone Girl? No, no, yeah, Gone Baby Gone was his first one. That's an excellent film, starring his brother. And then he did
Oh, I
Argo.
didn't know. I don't remember. We got
He did
Bruce
Argo.
Wayne
You know what I
butt.
mean? He actually became. He did The Town with Jeremy Renner, which was nominated for. Jeremy Renner was nominated for that, but he directed that. He by the time the casting announcement for Batman v Superman came out, he already got his respect back. You know what I mean? Like everybody was cool with Affleck at that point. They're like, wow, he's a good director and he's a good actor now. And anybody who was still like on that trip about J Lo and like making fun of him still for Geely way back in the day, or like some weird people living in some past thing. So like, I know everybody thinks there was this hate for Ben Affleck back then. It simply isn't fucking true. I was there at the time. I remember.
I don't remember any hate for Ben Affleck, but I remember being surprised at the casting decision, and but he won me over when I saw the movie. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like him as Batman.
Uh, I wasn't surprised at the casting decision at all. I wanted him to be Batman, and not that I predicted it. I mean, Kevin Smith would talk about it, about how Ben Affleck. You can find interviews way back, which he's talking about Ben Affleck back when he was friends with him, and he was like getting up in the world. Ben Affleck actually had like a bat cave, like he had like a makeshift bat. Like Kevin Smith talked about Ben Affleck's obsession with Batman and like how he'd be the perfect guy to play him, but he ended up playing Daredevil instead and fucked
Hmm.
up his. So it basically, he said, oh, he basically ruined his chances to ever play Batman by doing Daredevil back in the day. But he Kevin Smith was an advocate for Ben Affleck playing Batman, and it ended up happening. So I was like, damn, Kevin Smith, you were right. He
Hmm.
would be make a good Batman. And he is a good Batman. He is a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's great. And it's appropriate that he gets to break ground because this is in a way Batman in a way that we've never seen him on film before
Yeah.
on screen. And so he does get to have his own original take on Batman, which is great. How old was Clooney's Batman? Probably like 30, 40.
I'd say in his late 30s,
Oh, okay. But
late
Clooney
30s,
was
early
older,
40s.
right? When he played Batman or no? I can't
Uh,
remember.
Let me see. I'll just look it up.
I do like these subterfuge scenes, uh, and I think that's where Alfred's great in these.
He was 30. He was 36 or 37 when he
Okay.
played Batman in Batman and
So
Robin.
yeah, so yeah, this would be the oldest version of Batman, I guess.
Yeah. I like how Clark gives him that look like you're not right, fella.
Yeah, Clark's concerned.
He's like, I don't get how earlier when he said, "Who's that?" I don't. How does he not know who Bruce Wayne is? Come on. Maybe Bruce Wayne is kind of not around a lot as lately. He's not in the public eye like he used to be. So it would make sense in that way that Clark wouldn't really know who he is right off the bat. But why is he suddenly interested in this guy's opinion who he didn't know who he was before?
Mhm.
Well, you could argue, I guess, that he's a public figure, but like again, that's one little flaw I can't get over, that how he doesn't know about Bruce Wayne before this.
Hmm.
It's like a little mistake, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Criticizing
It's
those who think they're above the law is a little hypocritical, wouldn't you say? Considering every time your hero saves a cat out of a tree, you write a puff piece editorial about an alien who, if he wanted to, could burn the whole place down. There's great dialogue here, and Ben Affleck delivers it really well.
yeah.
And they have there are arguments against each other, not knowing who each other are.
I think I read this a little differently than what you were saying. Like maybe they don't know intuitively. Maybe they intuitively know that they're hiding something, each of them, and
Yeah,
that's why he wanted to interview him in the first place, right? Like maybe he's just like he's thinking like with the Batman's resources, like maybe someone's funding him or something, and that's why he's like kind of looking at millionaires and things like that and looking to see if that's where the
and
funding's coming from.
well, in a minute or so, Clark's gonna get a little clue as to who.
By the way, we failed to mention that oh, sorry about that. We failed to mention that Wonder Woman appeared. Diana. She was in an earlier scene. She looked back.
Yeah, they
Did you
kind
see
of
her? Yeah.
they kind of just ease her into this like.
Yeah. Well, she's on her own mission, which
And
is cool. It's funny.
you see this Clark is like, oh, Alfred, someone, and you got an earpiece and somebody's talking to you
Mm-hmm.
and give you like, what's up with this? So he's already on to Bruce as soon as he
To
meets him.
Bruce,
So that
yeah.
makes sense, like I like that. If if Alfred was talking to him in an earpiece, I like how they're smart enough to have Clark pick up on it.
Yeah. Well, he better after
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
scene in the last movie where it's like he hears everything all the time.
Mm.
In Superman Returns, I love that scene where Superman's just goes up at night and floats in space basically, like until he hears something that is like urgent.
Oh yeah. Which is not the best way to listen for things in the vacuum of space, but sure.
I think he hears like radio signals up there.
Okay, I'd hear a police scanner or something.
Yeah, police scanner or something like that. Yeah.
That would be extra messed up if Superman could like hear all the radio signals, all the radio stations at one time. Ah, I hate these songs. I hate music. It never makes any sense. This is a beautiful beautiful shot, and the
Hmm.
music here is amazing. This is one of the best things in the movie. The way this is lit, the firelight and the people
Hmm.
grabbing out like It's very kind of like pretentious almost, but it is
I
a.
would want to touch Superman, wouldn't you?
It's very comic booky. It's like a
Yeah,
you. This freeze frame here is like you freeze that. It's a beautiful image.
it is. But it's also scary.
It
Like,
is. Yeah, it's
you
haunting.
know what I mean? It's like haunting, yeah.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
All right. Oh, that's epic. That's pretty cool. The montage. This is a montage, everybody. Superman is bad montage. Oh, I love that Neil deGrasse Tyson's in there. That's cool. It's very why would he just float up there like that? That was a little too, I guess it was slow-mo. Poor Superman. They don't understand him. He would never do wrong. This was a great montage, that one, Blue. I liked especially that Superman was doing all these amazing heroic things and then transposed over it was like criticism of him.
This character of Jeanette here was completely eliminated from the theatrical cut, so anything with her in it is completely.
Hmm.
And also, not only are they showing more of Clark, and even just that scene with his mother just then. I don't know if that was in the whatever, but anyway, they're just showing more of Clark, and they're also showing more of Lois investigating.
Right.
So the characters have more purpose, it seems. But I don't. This is a good movie. It's better than Man of Steel.
Really?
Eh, Oh yeah,
So far, I'm liking Man of Steel more. I can't compare them actually because I feel
and
like this
this
is
stuff here.
again. I feel like this is a
Sorry,
Batman movie,
yeah,
like I said earlier. So it's like
no,
weird.
it's a Superman and Batman
I
perfect
know, I
balance
know, I know.
because that part here, that insert of him seeing that the Bat brand is a death sentence. Like it's showing that Clark is aware when before you didn't know that Clark did all this work,
Right.
finding shit out. Now, oh, this guy, yeah.
Mm.
We're about to get our F bomb. Who the fuck are you? Oh wait, he says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Oh, sorry. What the fuck do you want? Sorry. What a cruel thing to say, what? To help you stand for
Yeah, he's
something.
he's mean.
He's an asshole.
Blue says, I think this movie went too dark with Superman. There's no hope, but if you look at it as a middle act, it makes more sense. Yeah, it's true. I guess it's true.
Um, Superman displays a certain cynicism at one point to Lois. I think he says, "There's no one good in the world" or something along those lines, and you'd understand at that point why he says that because like he's getting just crapped on top of the fact that he's concerned about the Batman. This is another scene that had to be cut out because it would have given the movie an R rating, but it's
Hmm.
essential. You're actually seeing a man get stabbed to death by people hired by Lex Luthor to, uh, Lex Luthor's pulling the puppet strings. He's creating this conflict, and that wasn't entirely clear before when you saw it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm sorry. I keep bringing up the theatrical cut.
Oh no, it's interesting. I think the audience would be more interested than I. But I actually no, I find it very interesting. Oh
Here
look,
we have
here he
it's Mar-
is,
it's Martian
Martian
Manhunter.
what? Martian
Martian Manhunter.
Manhunter.
I don't care about spoiling that because the Justice League movie's coming out in 2 days, and by the time anybody watches this, it'll already be known. And he's in the trailers for the goddamn movie anyway. Even though he has a
Okay,
very, I don't know how big a part he has in it. Probably nothing.
and he was cut out of the Joss Whedon cut.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he has a great role in this movie. Him and Lois, and what I like about his character is that in Man of Steel, he's a reasonable character. He's not one of these people who's just like, I don't trust. Like, he's not distrustful. He's not automatically distrustful. I mean, but in this, he's skeptical of Lois, but given the right, push on her part, he he's on. He eventually they work together in the movie. I don't mean to jump ahead, but he's a very likable character in the movie, and he's noble. And if you think of him as like a secret superhero in disguise, like Martian Manhunter, it kind of makes more sense when you look back.
I love Lawrence Fishburne's
He's good.
portrayal of as Perry. He's a really good Perry.
I like that Clark Kent taking on the Batman.
It's great that they got these actual um
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson earlier,
yeah, and
John
John
Stewart.
Stewart. Yeah, just there's a lot of great real world cameos that ground the movie in a way that I always love when that happens. Hmm. That was that was playing in Eyes Wide Shut at the end, I think, right? This song.
Sounds very Eyes Wide Shutty.
Yeah. Bum 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 bada bum bum. I love Gal Gadot's outfit here, or I should say Diana's dress.
Mm.
It's beautiful, and she wears it so naturally and like easily.
Yeah, that's a fake. Oh, there we go. He said it. she's ve- she's very Gal Gadot is very like poised in this film. Like she seems very mature. You know what I mean? Like this is her 30 years after. Wonder
What's
Woman
the
1984. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I was gonna say. What so this is 30 years later. Yeah, so I guess yeah, I could buy it.
I like the way she says that. As it happens, no, I didn't. Like she's trying to be so serious.
So it's sad that it seems like she doesn't actually end up listening to Steve and finding someone though. Maybe Bruce will be that person.
I don't care about her. I don't care about her love life after 1984
Nice.
anyway. I don't give a shit about who she screws. You've never known a woman like me. No natural inclination to share.
Mhm.
I didn't steal your drive. I borrowed it. You'll find it in the glove compartment of your car. Now pack up your tits and go back to Themyscira.
Your accent's her accent's softer here than it is in previous movies. I wonder if she does that on purpose
It
too.
probably more Americanized now because she's
Yeah.
been.
Yeah, yeah. I do like these computer interfaces. They're very cool. The Bat L cars.
Oh, this is the nightmare sequence. Just to give it a little context of to what exactly this is. This is technically Bruce Wayne's dream, right? But there's a hint at like you know how Lex Luthor's kind of like seems like he's channeling something weird that they don't really talk about or show. Something similar could be happening with Bruce Wayne where he's like channeling like almost like a premonition of a possible future. And it's a future where Superman is turned evil. Superman is like the devil now. He's wiping shit out. He's on a rampage. And the reason is because Lois is dead. So there's a possible future that he's imagining where Lois died and Superman fucking lost it.
Mm. But
And these are all these soldiers and shit. They're all in a situation like Mad Max world, post Superman apocalypse. Because that's what it looks like. It's like I think he's like he could be a minion for Darkseid now, or like a sided with Darkseid. I don't know. It's weird they don't really flesh it out too much, but I hope to see some of that in Zack Snyder's Justice League because that's the only thing they shot extra. That's the only thing they actually brought actors back for was this extended nightmare scene that goes on in the next movie, and I can't wait to see it. And by the way, this version of the nightmare scene is longer than it was in the theatrical cut as well.
right, and also they changed this future technically, right? What is that, by the way?
They were tricking him into thinking it was
It was
kryptonite.
kryptonite. Oh, I see. And this was not in the theatrical cut, right? Oh, and there's a Superman symbol on these soldiers, and they look
Uh,
like Nazis. Okay.
they're minor cuts. Like a lot of it's in there, but like you'll see blood splatter and certain quick shots of violence that would definitely weren't like
So
the shot.
Superman became the emperor of the world, basically, or the governor of Earth, or whatever, in this like dark
I don't know the details. It's just
future because he has soldiers. He's got
it
like
it is.
soldiers with the Superman.
You don't know. All they make clear is that yeah, like parademons, like you're seeing here now. It's like
Yeah,
you know that Darkseid is probably around on Earth. Darkseid has basically turned Earth into apocalypse, and
right,
for whatever reason, Superman is either on his side or evil like him. But
right.
the only reason they don't give in this movie in particular is when Superman says that Bruce Wayne, you took her away from me. So like Lois died, he's gone mad. So oh, these guys are looking at him like, can you help us out, dude?
Hmm.
You gotta be thinking if Batman's hanging there, these guys know they're screwed. If Batman
Yeah.
ain't getting out of this, they ain't getting out of this either.
Yeah.
And he kills them right away. It would have been interesting to see him in a black Superman suit.
They
As
could just
part,
color. They could have color graded it to be that way without any problems. I'm sure.
I see why this kind of thing rubs certain comic book fans the wrong way, but like the comic books, there are many different iterations. Some dark, some light. Somewhere Batman has rules about killing. Somewhere he doesn't. I'm not detailed enough about the comics to know what they're taking from, but just as a film, it's interesting to look at these characters in this light. I know it's dark and joyless and all this, but I don't know. I find something entertaining about it.
Oh, look at this.
Now, this was supposed to be explained in Justice League. You don't this is not resolved in the 2017 Justice League at
It makes
all.
more sense that he would get a vision though, because if the Flash is traveling through time, maybe his arrival kind of did what you were talking about earlier and implanted that vision into
Yeah,
Bruce's subconscious,
there you
because he's
go.
clearly a Flash from that dark future, and so like yeah, it's but that future's probably they'll probably explain it, but that future got collapsed, I guess, when Lois didn't die.
Yeah.
But there's probably still a dark future because you have the Joker in the trailer, which wasn't in this. You know what I mean? So like maybe it's a different iteration of this future that we'll get more of.
No, you will see where he came from in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't know that for a fact, but considering that there is more nightmare stuff that does involve like uh not only Batman, I won't say who, but I mean I would assume Flash would do that thing and go back. You know what I mean?
Right, but if that
In
timeline's
Justice League,
collapsed, he doesn't have to do it. But he could still do it in a different way. It'll still happen, but it has to be different now. If I don't know, I'm just assuming. We'll find out.
it is.
But
Then
yeah.
it's true though. I don't know what happens in this Snyder cut. I have no idea. So like, it's hard to know where could this be the future that Snyder intended for the DCU, and they're and Warner Brothers is like, we can't do that. We can't go in an apocalyptic direction. It's already too dour. You know what I mean? In their eyes.
I think this honestly, I think this kind of thing, it's another case of the like, blowing your load all at once type of thing is that I think this would work a lot better as a TV series, like what they did with WandaVision. I just feel like it needs to flesh out and be more digestible because there's like so much going on that it gets not overwhelming, but just like afterwards you don't remember half the shit because it wasn't important. It ended up not being important to you.
Yeah.
I do like long format films though. I do think that like it'd be neat. You know how Ben-Hur was 4 hours long or whatever, and there was an intermission. I hope there's an intermission uh on the Justice League.
When it is released in theaters, there will be an
There will be.
intermission,
That's good.
an orchestral piece by Junkie XL.
That's right. You said that. I remember now.
And apparently he wants to release the black and white version as well because that was the print he had to work off of for the longest time.
Mm.
Or that's the version of the Snyder cut he had with all the uncompleted scenes and the
I didn't
scene.
like the black and white release of Logan. Everyone loved it and said it was so amazing, but I actually like the theatrical color version.
Some things look bad. If some things are meant to be filmed in black and white, you can take advantage of the light better, and special effects actually or visual effects blend better in the colorless format, where it's just you don't have to worry about matching colors and stuff.
I'm also a
Yeah.
believer of, I mean, you can't do it on digital, but I mean, I guess you could. You could design a camera that was a black and white digital camera, but I like when black and white is filmed. For some reason, it always looks better to
Now
me.
this is important because this is the wife of the man who has got stabbed. So it's showing like the consequences. Like even a criminal, even the criminals that Batman kills, they have families, they have responsibilities, they have people to take care of, despite the fact that they're pieces of shit, like doing crime and probably killing people themselves. It's just showing that the woman's basically just told Clark, the only thing Batman understands is a fist. Like, and she's blaming him for her husband's death because they all know when you've got that mark, you die. And the reason behind that is that Lex Luthor's literally paying people to kill people with the bat symbol to drum up uh, controversy with drum up a fight between Batman and Superman. And Lex Luthor's intention is to have Batman kill Superman. Lex Luthor wants Superman out of the way. Even though it's initially he says he's Lex Luthor sends Superman to kill Batman. What he really wants is Batman to kill Superman. That's an awful big tracker, don't you think? It's an awful big, conspicuous tracker.
Yeah.
See, this action scene would have been so much more better if it didn't have like all the CG garbage that we're about to see.
Mm.
Affleck's like, "You're gonna die." Oh, there you go. They didn't die; they got messed up. Now, see this thing where he's pulling the car. This looks like CG, bouncy, bad physics. It just don't look good. Looks good in some shots, and then another like where it's like bouncing around on the back just then.
Yeah.
It's so like ugh. And the way it flips over and lands.
That's what's not
That
so
that
bad.
part that part looked okay. Yeah, I admit.
The Batmobile's cool. I don't
Yeah,
mind it.
when they're showing it driving practically, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then you can totally see the CG the transition to the CG shot. It's like that right there, and
Mm.
this right here,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
bad. Yeah, I see
crashing
it.
through and all that looks
Oh
pretty.
yeah, it's
All
all.
that looks awful. And you think at this point in this day and age, they can make CG car stuff look 100% photorealistic. Like I said, Michael Bay, if there's one thing that he's good at, is making sure that his visual effects are as photorealistic as possible. Say what you will about his
His
personality
style.
or style.
I don't hate Michael Bay movies, by the way. I think a lot of them were a great part of my teenage years. Like they were very inspirational and like very
Welcome to the
cool and
Rock.
stuff like that. Yeah. I just think that like, you know,
Like
I
that
think
part
that
right
maybe
there
like
with
I don't like his later films as much.
yeah.
Like Transformers. I'm not into the Transformers as much.
Where is he?
And I love the cartoon. Yeah, that looks
Look,
like
look, it goes right through that guy's head. He literally goes right through his head.
I didn't even notice that. It's too
I hate
fast.
this. I hate this whole like going through
Yeah,
the
it's
boat
like
thing. Oh, it looks so. It's like oh, Zack Snyder, you just love you're so good, and then you're so like you mess it up. That's what's interesting about Snyder is that His films are always artistically
That's
interesting
cool.
to observe,
The countermeasures, that was awesome.
but he can't he can't hold on to the believability in some scenes. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
here we go.
Oh, he's like, oh shit.
And Superman's just like nothing. Like it's just like, oh, okay.
I hope, yeah, I hope Batman's about to say, "Do you bleed?" and all that. Superman heard that, right? Because in Justice League 2017, Clark says to Bruce, "Do you bleed?" And he says in that really weird fucking way with the CG mouth. I swear to God, if that's in the Snyder cut, I'm
Oh,
gonna be
look at
very
that.
upset.
Wow.
Oh, look at what?
No, he's badass, Superman. He's like, consider this mercy. Do you bleed?
It's almost like fucking get it over with.
They should actually, I think. That would be
You
great. I
will.
ship that.
You will. You will take my Batman in your super ass.
That's a weird way of entering the Batcave, by the way.
I hate this. This looks so bad.
Yeah.
And you can literally see where it changes from a CG thing to a practical thing. You can actually see it change if you look close enough, and that's
That's
not good.
funny.
I don't know. I mean, there we all complain about an overuse of CG, and we only complain about it if it's noticeable. If it's really good, we don't see it. You know what I mean? We just think it's practical. There's so much CG in things that we didn't even know was CG. Like it's just so well blended and incorporated into the live action elements that David Fincher's famous for it. For having like CG and green screen in places that you never thought it would.
Right.
In like crime in crime movies and stuff. It's weird.
I would love it if David Fincher did a Batman.
I've always wanted David Fincher to direct a Batman. Actually, I thought he would. I thought he would be the one to direct um, Affleck because of the Gone Baby Gone that he did with
Right.
him. Blue Spurk, they cut it. They cut it so much because they didn't want him to have a 3 hour cut. This cut of 3 hours and 3 minutes is as cut down the movie can be without completely taking away certain plot elements. So you have characters like uh, what's her name again? The woman who frames Superman, Zahina. No, Kahina.
Mm.
You have her stuff was cut out. This guy here, the guy in the wheelchair, uh, Wally. Some of his stuff was cut out. You didn't know what happened in Africa. They
Mm.
cut stuff out there, so like you're. So if you go back and look at the reviews for the theatrical cut of this movie, you will find a lot of people complaining about all of the plot holes that they
Right.
fill in this version. So that's why you have a lot of critics who didn't like the theatrical cut saying, "This is better. I still don't like it, but this is better." You know what I mean? And you have people like me who think it's night and
It's
day.
great. Yeah.
It's night and day. The theatrical cut is a butchered version, and it's not like they rearrange scenes or anything. It's simply they cut essential information out of the movie that left you wondering, and there's too much of that. And yes, and that's a part of the filmmaker's fault because there's a lot going on in this fucking movie. There's a lot of characters.
I noticed Superman does this thing with his brow, but Clark doesn't. You see this like this whole like consternation look, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's an
See
interesting difference.
this stuff right here with Kahina Ziri. None of this was here. So like, she shows up in the theatrical version, talks shit about Superman. You don't know why. There's no context for it. and you don't see what happens to her. She's just gone. So they're actually giving all the characters they introduce closure, and they're giving
Hmm.
them a story, and they're giving them an arc, even if they're minor characters. And yes, they're doing too much in the movie. There's too many things going on, and that's why he needed the 3 hour version. But that's Snyder is notorious for that. He says that when he makes a movie, he films way more than he needs, and he has a 4 hour version of Watchmen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's
Is that
actually two.
available?
There's two director's cuts of Watchmen. One is I think a 3.5 hour version, and one I think is a 4 hour version. The 4 hour
I wonder
version
which one
the four
I
hour
bought.
version is just it adds animated segments or something.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that one then. I love that movie, Watchmen.
But the middle version, the 3.5 hour version of Watchmen is the better version of Watchmen,
Mm.
even though I don't think it's the greatest movie. It's an interesting movie.
I like the show a lot. Did you watch the show? I don't remember.
I didn't get into it yet. I watched the first episode or something. Oh yeah, Jeremy Irons is in that too, isn't he?
Hmm. She's figuring it out.
Did we see the subway part yet?
No, I don't think so.
Soledad O'Brien, a real reporter using her real name, playing herself.
Yep.
And Wolf Blitzer is also in everything.
Yeah, it's true. He is. It's true.
I'm Wolf Blitzer. CNN News. See, none of this was essential stuff that wasn't in the theatrical version. And she just passed the woman who's about to die, right?
Well, I saw her pass the KGB guy.
No, Lois just passed Ziri. Did you see that? On the stairs, and she
Oh,
looked at
I
him.
actually. That's funny because I noticed the KGB guy was
Oh
on
yeah,
the
he's there
stairs.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't notice her. I didn't notice Siri. Sorry. So does he want this to be in a square format as well?
I'm sorry. Say again.
So does he? Would he like to release this film if it was up to him in a 4:3 or what, or ever format
Yeah.
instead?
Well, it is being released. When you watch this movie in theaters in the IMAX, it had
Oh, right.
it had the widescreen, but it would fill out to, like, I'd say the equivalent of a four by not 4:3 necessarily, but maybe like closer to a
Close to
16
there.
by 9 maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
But all I remember is that in the IMAX scenes, the screen would fill out, where it would look, really just bigger.
Bigger. Gotcha.
There's never been a 4K version of that released, and I think that's coming out. Zack Snyder said he's not sure when, but it will be on HBO Max not long after the Snyder Cut.
Got it.
So that when you watch it on your screen, you're going to see the bars, and then you're going to see a clearer kind of like full screen version pop out. Don't
Okay.
know if it's 4:3 or 16 by 9. I would assume maybe 4:3 because I think that was his intention. But he said Justice League was intended to be shot in the 4:3 ratio. So people are complaining, oh, dude, you just cut off the sides. It's like, no, dude, he framed it to be taller than the average movie. So when it was shown on an IMAX screen, it would be tall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if I were to guess, I think the IMAX version of the 4K disc for this movie, and it is the Ultimate Edition. They're not doing the theatrical cut anymore. Oh God, oh shit, she died. That was pretty fucked up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was amazing. I like it's Lex Luthor tying up his loose ends and stuff because he can't run the risk of her saying, going back in her story.
Look at that guy. He's so angry.
Yeah, he's like, ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
No
I'm a nerd.
Superman.
It's crazy how it's he's just walking in a court down a hallway.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy. Ziri's story is complete.
He's so buff. He's like the buffest Superman. And I wonder if they even pad the. You know how sometimes the suits have like extra padding?
No, 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 no.
That's all Henry Cavill,
It's
right?
it's the material has a certain thickness to it, but it's they don't need padding for Henry Cavill. Have you seen it? There was a video of him went viral last year of him fixing a computer or building a computer,
Oh, I love that video. Yeah.
and he looks like a monster in just doing that. Like his arms are gigantic, just fixing a computer, and it's like, dude really loves working out. Some dudes are like that. They're just like that's like their fix, getting like fucking jacked. Some people hate it. Some people, I think Henry Cavill, I think like it. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone are the type of guys who,
Oh, she just noticed what she drank. That's
oh
funny.
god, I'm drinking apple juice here too. Hey, darn it, I gotta. How am I gonna drink this apple juice now?
Why did you do that? Why did you go get an apple juice? That's
The only other
hilarious.
thing I have in my fridge is peach tea. Now I can't drink anything except tap water.
Oh shit.
Oh god. It's
I
like a,
love
it's like a fuck you to her before she dies. He's such a maniac, and he's killing his assistant too, right? He doesn't give a shit
right.
about his assistant.
That's insane. That's what
There was a complaint about in this. People were like, "How could Superman not know about the bomb?" And guess what? This version of the film accomplishes, explaining why he doesn't. It was lined with lead.
hmm
All around me are familiar faces, bored out
Look at him, he's
places.
like devastated, yeah.
It's a mad world.
Why are
That's
you singing that song over
it's
it?
a if you mute it and you just like play that song over this, it's so perfect.
I guess so. It's already
It's
used
so
so much
dour.
though. Yeah. By the way, that song's not that bad. The original is not that like sad.
Oh no, it's a pop. It's a pop
It's
song.
a
It's like
pop
all
song, yeah.
around me, all familiar
Familiar
faces,
worn out faces.
and I find it kind of funny, and I find it fun to say.
It's a little more angry actually, the original
Yeah,
song.
it's like
It's like
shout,
angsty.
shout,
Yeah.
let it all out. Oh man, I love that song from Ninja Turtles 3, Tarzan Boy. Oh whoa 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 whoa, that song.
Mm,
You don't know Tarzan Boy?
I do, of course.
Okay.
In the night, da 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 da, boop, 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 right? That song.
It was on the soundtrack for Ninja Turtles 3. That's the only way I became aware of it.
I knew about it from a Listerine commercial back in the 90s.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Holy
That's
shit.
that's like what I was obsessed with. I was like, I gotta know what that song is. I mean, I'd heard it. I'm pretty sure I heard it on the radio before, but that's when I became obsessed with that song for some reason.
When they show Superman, there's extra scenes here where they show Superman actually giving a fuck and helping.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't look like such an asshole, like just flying away. I don't even think they showed him flying away in that part. I think they just cut away from all of that. Mr. Wayne, you bloody fool. Yeah, this is that wasn't this. None of this was in the theatrical either. But it
Well, I
gives kind.
imagine it's like a whole hour added, basically, right, or more.
It's no 30
Some of these
minutes,
scenes. Oh,
and
30
and
minutes.
the
It's amazing.
and that's it goes to show that when you keep shaving a movie down and you end up cutting 30 minutes, even though it's sparse, it's only here and there, and you're taking away like maybe like 30 seconds a minute here and there. It makes a difference. It really fucking does. Oh, Lex wanted all of this to happen. Like he loves this. Like this is like he'd be twiddling his fingers right now if nobody was looking.
Hmm.
And like it's all going according to plan. What's that, Steppenwolf? What's that, Dark Side? You're coming for the mother boxes? I will help you.
So do we see the mother boxes in this movie? I don't remember.
Yeah, you see one of them at the end.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Uh,
I don't mind them setting up Justice League shit in this. I know people are like, "Oh, it's just setting up future movies." I'm so sick of movies that don't stand on their own. I think I think the plan here was it to be a connective universe. So I
well,
like
I
the
think of it as a
continuity.
trilogy. I think it is a trilogy, really.
Yeah,
It's really meant to be a
it
trilogy.
is technically like at this point. I don't know if we're going to get anything else from Zack Snyder in the DCU. I doubt it. But if you want to just say like, look at Man of Steel, the Ultimate Edition of this movie, and the Zack Snyder's version of Justice League, that's his definitive DCEU trilogy right there. And I think hopefully it will be like Justice League will be better than this because I think Man of Steel is like a 6.5 and then like this is a 7.5. I used to think this was an 8, but I'll just like go 7.5 and I want a Justice League is to be an 8 or an 8.5.
Hmm.
I don't want it to be perfect. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I want it to be progressively good or better than the last. So I can go back and watch the Snyder trilogy and actually appreciate it as kind of like a narrative, as one person called it, a narrative cul-de-sac, because it can't really go anywhere because
Right.
it's not official. Like this version of the movie is not the official version, even though they've essentially replaced
Why
it.
is that? Why do you say that?
Well, because the theatrical cut is what got released. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think
That
that's really hard. I think that's like kind of a. This was released too. I bet it played in a couple of theaters,
it
PJ.
did. Yeah, this did play in theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't
But
know.
what didn't get
I
a it
don't think
didn't
I
get a
think it's a
wide
little too
it
straight.
didn't I did not get a wide release though. That's for damn sure. Especially in Canada, it didn't get anything in Canada. I don't
Still,
think.
I think this is the official version for me, anyways.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's considered the right version of the movie. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
people
I wouldn't
don't.
even waste my time with the theatrical cut. I would tell people like, not don't
Yeah,
even bother with it.
I don't know how anybody would watch it except for they don't think
Oh, my question is answered here, by the way. I was wondering what. Oh no, this is yeah. It's the Zod one. That's the Zod. The Zod command key.
the Zod key. Yeah,
Interesting.
he
I'm
really just
surprised it.
he really just falls into this stuff, doesn't he? This is kind of convoluted, where he's like gets control of the ship. He can create a monster from Zod's dead body and his DNA. It's all very hokey pokey.
I think that it's interesting that whoever puts the command key in is safe on the ship. You know what I mean? Like that
That part's
it
cool.
listens
Yeah,
to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The technology of the Kryptonian stuff is something I always like appreciated in Man of
Yeah.
Steel, and the fact that they gave it some thought. Visual aesthetics aside, you can disagree with that kind of stuff, but the approach is there, like the intelligence of the Jor-El hologram and whatnot, or the intuitive nature of it. This is how I work out. I pull ropes with my shirt off in the rain.
I like that they forge a
He's making a
weapon.
lightsaber.
Yeah, sorry, I guess so.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I like that they're forging all these weapons out of the kryptonite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Damn, that's like hardcore working out there.
The best shape Ben Affleck's ever been in is a movie called The Town. That's the
Mm.
first movie where I was like, make this dude Batman. And he could have played Batman at that time and he would have been perfect. The only thing was he was skinny toned, like he was like ripped, like he had like an 8 pack and like a really flat kind of chest and stuff, and like he was the kind of
I
muscular
don't understand this. He already
that's thin.
knew.
But I always thought that that kind of muscular, especially
Sorry
with
to
his
interrupt you, but this is important. I don't understand. Did he already know she was Wonder Woman? I got the impression he didn't. Or is he just finding out now?
no, he finds out when he sees the picture.
So this right now, he's finding
Yeah.
out. Okay, got it. Thank you. Go on. Sorry.
So I always thought like when the actors bulked up too much, like it makes sense for Cavill, right? Because he's in like a kind of thin suit. But with Batman, I always thought like he'd have a bit more layering or armor. So what Ben Affleck does is he really gets like
I like the music.
he gets comic book jacked. You know what I mean? But
Right.
if you watch The Town, you see him as like jacked in that movie, but like thin jacked.
Who
And
sent him this info? Who sends him this information?
the slacks, man.
Oh, I didn't get
Right, I'm
that.
trying to talk about Ben Affleck's working out, and you keep interrupting me because you don't
Sorry,
want to hear
sorry.
about it.
It's
I
just
thought this would
because
be
it's too
something
distract.
that you would be interested in, but apparently not.
It's too distracting. I don't want to. I don't want to get aroused.
No, but my point, I'm trying to make the point of
They should have
if
showed Zod's
if
D
an
in this
I don't
scene.
like the idea of Batman having like the same layering of costuming as fucking Superman. Is what my point that I'm trying to fucking make is that it makes no
Yeah.
sense for the guy playing Batman to get in Superman size shape because Batman should have armor because he's a fucking human. And this is where in this movie, when Batman's flying around like a rubber doll later on with the Doomsday stuff, that's where it takes me out of it. And I'm like, I don't see a realistic Batman anymore. I see a cartoon character. Just like in Man of Steel when there's so much explosion and fucking rubbery fucking people flying around and shit. I just don't care about what I'm looking at. That's like was it Pattinson who's playing Batman now? He ain't jacked for that shit.
Right.
There's no way Robert Pattinson is getting jacked for Batman because he's like, dude, I got to put all that armor on. If I that's what this Christian Bale had the same problem. He got so jacked for Batman Begins, he actually had to go back and lose weight because when they put the costume on him, it looked too he looked like Fat Man. And some people joke about Ben Affleck in this movie in Justice League about how he's so bulky he looks fat. I'm like, I don't see that, but I understand like it's a little bit overdone.
I mean, no, they do give him a bit of a gut in the next movie, and he's drinking a lot more. I think that was
Yeah,
unintentional.
some of that might be with the reshoots because there's certain parts in
Yeah, but I think it was also intentional to show like Bruce
no, it wasn't
Wayne.
intentional because
Really?
you will see in Snyder Cut the original Ben Affleck footage.
Oh, gotcha.
And what happened was when he came back and shot for Joss Whedon, he'd gained weight because he directed a gangster movie where he
Gotcha.
deliberately put on weight. So he was trying to lose the weight when he came back for the reshoots, but people always joke about how he had that puffy face. So you can see like Ben Affleck when he originally shot Justice League scenes with a thinner face and he's more like kind of like toned, I guess. And he's a bit thicker when he comes back for the reshoots. And a part of why his face was a bit like that, he was drinking heavily at the time. That's a sad thing to say, but he was going through a severe battle with alcohol. And anybody knows alcoholics, it makes your face a bit puffy. If you didn't know that. So that's the weird thing about the Joss
Right.
Whedon cut is that Ben Affleck does look a bit bloated. I'm not body shaming. I'm just pointing out a fact of circumstance and times that they shot it and like what was going on around that time. By the way, the gangster movie that he directed was his first dud. It was the first movie he made that sucked, which is unfortunate. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was bad. She's a good detective. I like her. She's a good reporter. And they're showing it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Is this movie boring you?
No, actually, I'm a little bit, yes. Just a little bit.
I'm trying. I'm,
Your facts are what's interesting. Like I had no idea about any of that stuff. I heard the thing about him being an alcoholic for a while because of the divorce, but I think I heard that on maybe you said that before.
the inside of the chair was lined with lead. He couldn't stop it. He couldn't see it. That's why. And then people
Hmm.
were like coming out when that was one of the complaints, like, the nitpicking, which I don't mind. People were like, well, what about that part where he was in the courtroom? How come you couldn't hear the bomb ticking, or you couldn't sense the bomb or see the
Mm.
bomb in the wheelchair? Wouldn't he? Wouldn't he look around and like, he couldn't see it because it was lined with lead.
This would have been a great opportunity to do a
Blue Spurk, people will care. People have talked about why he looks different and puffy. They've done comparisons on YouTube.
Oh, you
There's
should
actually a
say
lot.
for the
There's a
audio
lot.
audience the
There's a
question,
lot.
which is Blue says no one is going to care about why
There's only
he's
one person
puffy.
here.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah.
later when people listen, they're gonna be like, "Why is that
Uh,
guy just saying that?" Like,
but yeah, it's interesting to look at the YouTube comparisons between
sorry,
because
this is a Han Solo being pulled right here, but before Han
yeah.
Solo,
But back when the original trailers were released, a lot of that is Zach's stuff, and that got changed, and a lot of
why is everyone having
his
hallucinations and visions? Like, why would Superman hallucinate?
he's
Uh,
not hallucinating. He's imagining a conversation with his father.
I don't think that's like, it's weird.
He's imagining it. He's remembering a story his dad told him.
They just didn't want to film the scene of the flashback.
They're like, "Hey, let's go up on let's go up on Paramount Mountain."
Mountain. It does look like Paramount Mountain. To the
But
nightmares.
yeah, and Ben Affleck's whole journey with Batman and stuff is kind of sad because a part of why he couldn't get his shit together on, or I don't know what happened, but his ability to direct and star in his own Batman film was hindered by the fact that he was going through something.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's all good now. I'm pretty sure he's all good now. He's doing well. Hopefully. I love his cameo in Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, it's so good. When he shows up in that movie, it's like he has a big fucking like two page speech that's like so pretentious and up his own ass, but it's so sweet at the same time. And he has this little girl there,
Hmm.
and he's talking about fatherhood and stuff, and it was so good. 20 years of fighting criminals amounts to nothing. It's establishing that in Batman's mind, 20 years of fighting the little guys, which are like the Joker and Riddler and Catwoman and all this, don't compare to a god like Superman. So
Right.
this is like he Batman. I think at this point would die. Like I think like it's like I die to fucking get rid of this guy at this point. I will take it all the way now.
Yeah. But he's wrong.
He's wrong. Yeah, and Alfred's like looking at him like, dude,
You're crazy.
there's no talking you down, is it? So falls the house of Wayne.
House of
What a
Wayne.
beautiful line. Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna
Uh,
get a beer refill.
yeah. Here we have Nancy Grace. They're just putting everybody in this movie. Yeah, turn her off. This is where Superman's mother gets kidnapped. And I have a problem with the pictures that they show, that Lex shows Superman later on. Nancy Grace is an awful loudmouth news person. I think she's been canceled. I don't know. Everybody's been canceled now, but yeah, she's notorious for being making controversial comments about sensitive subjects. You know, one of those like, shock kind of reporters. But I guess she's done some good stuff. I don't know. Starfleet Boy was here. He'd tell you who Nancy Grace was. I'm sure he's aware of Nancy Grace. I'm sure Father is definitely aware of Nancy Grace because he'd probably have some opinions about her. But yeah, they have They have reporters and the comedian like that. Jon Stewart as a cameo. I think Wolf Blitzer shows up. These are people from CNN. Soledad from CNN was there, playing herself. Warner Brothers movies tend to have cameos from people at CNN. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, Warner Media owns CNN. Ooh, the night is here. This is the darkness before the dawn. Superman will die. At Batman's hand. Every time. What is this song? Oh, I die a little, yeah. What's that song? I die a little. Every time we say goodbye. Yeah, okay. Like, I think all this stuff here is IMAX. Everything from this point on, right up until the fight, uh, yeah, right up until the fight, right before Batman goes and saves Martha, is all in the IMAX format, like when you saw it in the movie theater. And basically, from this point, not much has changed. This is like the exact same thing as the theatrical cut. There are no extra little bits in here, I don't think. The only thing is, when you do get to Batman at the warehouse later, you do see blood that wasn't there before, and you see a few more stabbing scenes, or shots of stabbing, than you saw in the theatrical cut. For this whole thing being like a green screen thing, it looks pretty. It looks pretty good. You don't. It doesn't immediately jump out at you as a green screen effect. Like, you actually get a sense that they're actually up in a building. I mean, some people may differ with that opinion, but I think from a visual effects standpoint, this is seamless almost. By the way, we're an hour and 53 minutes into the movie, and the Batman v Superman hasn't happened yet. So that's probably one of the reasons why they wanted to cut it down, because they're like, Jesus, Zack's intended version, they don't actually fight until 2 hours into the movie. That's not what we want. And I think in the theatrical version, it happens an hour and a half to 2 hours into the movie, between an hour and a half and 2 hours into the movie, and then like the last 20 half hours, that fight, and then all the Doomsday stuff. By the way, that shot of him saving her and the pan that goes across is a very good shot. It's one of my favorite shots. Now I have an issue coming up here with these pictures that he shows or that he's about to show. See, his acting is weird. I can never get over it, but I'm at the same time I'm used to seeing it now. I suppose the goal was to make him be cringy and unlikable, and it works. If that's the case, then it works. Lex Luthor is a cringy and unlikable person. He's not even a charming villain. He's just like a ugh. You just want to punch him in the face. The timestamp is 154:44, 45, 154:49.
We're perfectly in sync. Why would it change?
What have you done, you
What have you
crazy
done?
son of a bitch? Have you done something to my man? See, see, he's a Lex Luthor. This is explaining a lot of things that we didn't see. So when you watch the original version of this, you're like, "Oh, you did all that? Oh, okay. I did. It wasn't clear before." But the fact that they actually take the time to show you certain processes, I appreciate it. I think it fleshes it out much better. And by the time you get to this point, you're not trying to fill in so many blanks. I don't think.
Hmm.
But nothing has changed now. This is pretty much the exact same as the theatrical version. And like I was saying while you were gone, all of this stuff was the IMAX. Like this going and the entire fight, and then it cuts back to widescreen.
Right.
I hate the pictures. I fucking hate these pictures. They're it's. I have a real issue with these pictures. Do you have any indication of what would bother me about this?
What is it? That it's his mom?
It's not only that. It's some of the shots are her with her eyes completely rolled back, and where the camera is shaking to create a kind of like a streak blur effect across her face. So that particular picture, you'd only see it for a second. It's like, wow, it's so obvious you just did that for like the horror kind of shock look to it, and
Mm.
also the gag in her mouth and like the mascara rolling down her eyes with the camera really close up to her face. It's like in the pictures they're making the situation look so extreme it's almost pornographic. And then when you actually see her later, she's in bad shape obviously, but she's not nearly as fucked up looking as she is in those pictures. So I just don't like the fact that the pictures like just push the shock thing a little too far.
Mm.
Like just to give you that emotional thing with Superman where he's like, "You fucking did this to my mother. What are you like?" If I saw those pictures, like the way they are, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing to her? Like, why is the camera all like weird in her face and like her eyes roll back in one shot and like it all blurry?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Martha Kent is
I wouldn't have the composure Superman does in this. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, Martha Kent's his Achilles heel anyways. Like you don't need to go that far to get him to that anger. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
just have to suggest that she's like locked up and stuff
yeah.
like that. You know what I
I
mean?
thought
Like
that
but
yeah, exactly. Look at her there. I just thought the gratuity of the pictures was a little too much, and I
shock
guess
job.
I guess it was a way to stir up Superman. But yeah, really, all you had to do was say is like, "I have your mother." Like that's all you had to do. You don't have to just show him fucked up pictures.
Well, that just I guess goes to what you were saying earlier about how the Luther's just like this is
He's a sick fuck.
a sick yeah, he's like a sick guy. He's taking extra joy out of it.
I'll be back. I must get drink and use bathroom. It's a long ass movie.
I know.
We're,
I
we're
know.
two
What are we gonna do for
two
Justice
hours
League?
2 hours into it, and This is the climax. The whole climax of the movie is like the last hour now.
More destruction, but at least this time, I think if I recall correctly, it doesn't happen in the city, right?
Yeah, they make sure to take it
Take it out, yeah.
in sparsely populated areas. Look
It goes to Smallville.
and look when he says this, no one stays good in this world. That has more meaning in this version because you've seen the process of him just like learning all this like dour shit. And I know people are like, yeah, this is sad superhero stuff. It's emotional and it's joyless. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay sometimes. As long as it's well executed, you can have things that aren't comical and stuff like this. Zack Snyder described the Marvel Cinematic Universe as action comedy, he said, and only they can do it as well as they do. That's what you go into in a Marvel movie. You expect to have fun, and it's like basically an action comedy. He goes,
That's a
"What
great point.
WB was trying to was what they were trying to get me to do with Justice League was make it like that, and that's not what this is. Zack Snyder is trying to take it seriously and put it in a real world setting, and you're taking different styles because you're dealing with gods here. Yes, Batman isn't, but Wonder Woman, fucking Superman, aliens are in the, like you have these beings that are godlike, mythical like beings. It's almost like the DC universe has that mythic quality to it that Marvel doesn't, and it requires a different approach, I think. And yes, you can have the hopeful Superman and the Batman that doesn't kill. Sure, you can have iterations of that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring like this angle at all. So I have a certain appreciation for it, even though I don't like everything about it. Here we get our sizzle reel.
I
I'll be right back.
like that both times Wonder Woman's music played. Hey, Blue, how's it going? Are you synced up with us? Dun, 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 dun. I can't believe you're still watching. It's awesome that we have a live person in the audience. There he is, Aquaman. What? Jason Momoa. I don't remember the Aquaman movie being that great, but I haven't seen it in a long time. What did you guys think? What did you think of it? I remember this was like I didn't know what was going on because I didn't know about the character of Cyborg. Oh, there's the mother the mother cube or whatever it's called. Ah, there we go. When PJ comes back, I have to ask him if these scenes were in Justice League. I don't remember. Something like it was in Justice League though. The music's great. Batman. I saw your comment that you like this armor. I think you're referring to Batman's armor. I do too. It's pretty cool. It's like tank. Well, here I am. Ah, I was wrong. Whoops. These are cool traps. This was a cool trap. I like that. I think there's a series of them. Well, that's it. Superman's like very formidable. I like this. I was rooting for Superman. I know. I love Batman, but
Now, there's much more context to this scene too, because when Superman's saying, Bruce, he's trying to talk to him at first, right?
right.
And tries to talk to him twice, and then he pushes him. That has more meaning because the wife of the murdered man earlier said the only thing Batman understands is the fist. So Clark's
Gosh,
teaching.
you
Clark
really
is giving him a
know.
Vulcan hello and taking the approach of,
Yeah.
if you won't listen to me, you might respect my fist instead. And
When did you
he's
see the
like now
theatrical cut
he's
last?
still trying to talk to him. He's like he fucked him
Yeah.
up a bit, and now he's like, will you listen to me? And now he's like, Batman's like, no, I'm
But
crazy.
PJ, when did you see the theatrical cut last?
2016.
That's the last time you saw it? Man, you
Yes.
have a great memory.
The only reason
I
the only reason I remember the comparisons is because I actually wrote a review. Uh,
oh, gotcha.
it's on
Okay.
this channel, by the way. I
Oh, very
re-uploaded it.
cool.
It's from 2016 about this movie when I first saw it,
No
and
wonder. I
just
was like, God, how does this guy know? You must have watched it like the other
by it,
day.
by the way, Blue, if you want to look at my review on this channel of this version of the movie, it's a just tells you what basically the this version does that the theatrical version did not do.
Right. No, you have it down pat. Like I've learned so much from hearing your comparison
All of this stuff is the exact
remembrances.
same. But the way this looks? This is actually cut off at the tops and bottom. The way this was framed was
Which you're saying we're gonna
somewhere
get
between
that on
4:3 and
HBO.
16:9. I'm not sure exactly which. But
HBO is gonna show that version.
but
Yeah, you
Zack's
could tell Batman looks cut out at times, like you where you don't think he would.
mm,
Maybe he doesn't. Actually, they did a pretty good job. Is this pan? It's not pan and scan, is it?
no, it's framed in a way where it could be for what, like, you look at for example, the Avengers Endgame. I saw that in IMAX at first, and then when I saw it in non IMAX, I was noticing the crop. You know what I mean? From the top and bottom. But
Sure.
even though
The
everything was
aspect
in
ratio.
place, yeah,
The aspect ratio changes throughout the
yeah.
movie, and here it's just been unified to one aspect ratio, is
I
what
mean,
you're
the
saying.
framing still works, but it's not truly the way it was meant to be seen.
Gotcha.
Like, it's just like I hate the versions of The Dark Knight that are often on streaming now, where it doesn't change the IMAX ratio. I like the Blu-ray version of Dark Knight much better than the straight up just like black bars the whole way. Same thing with Avengers. I'm not sure if the Disney Plus version of Avengers does that either. I haven't watched it yet, but I would hope they do. It's like with remember Mandalorian season 2, the first episode, expand it into the IMAX format.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like certain parts are meant to be displayed in widescreen and framed in widescreen for this particular movie I'm talking about, and then other parts, like all of this, was framed differently. Even though it could work, it's meant to also work in the cropped format as well. It's akin to anamorphic widescreen, they call it. It's like a way of where they film a movie where it's actually cropped. It's parts of the frame are cropped from the top and the bottom, so that when you get the video version, the home video version back in the day where it's 4:3, sometimes they don't have to do pan and scan for certain things. They can just take away the anime. They can literally take away the black bars in some cases. An example of this is Dogma from Kevin Smith, where the scene with Alanis Morissette as God is on the street. In the in the VHS version, you can see extras moving on the
Oof.
ground who are supposed to be dead when really like they weren't meant to be seen because it was anamorphic widescreen, so it was supposed to be cropped. There is true widescreen though, you know what I mean? There's differences.
Yeah.
Anything filmed on 35 millimeter film, unless it's in that exact film aspect ratio, is cropped to some degree. Like movies aren't. The strips of film don't look like little fucking like rectangles and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I studied photography and I study cinematography and I understand all that and I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, but
You're smart.
no, I
You're
just get what
smart.
you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But
I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
no, that was good. It's good explanation.
Superman, Batman's just like dragging him. He's like, "Fuck this guy." It's brutal,
Yeah.
man, isn't it? Some weird
I was
imagery.
yeah, I was into I have to admit I was really into the fight this time, even with your explanation. I guess this is the best part of the movie for me.
It's the climax.
Yeah,
Aside
but
from aside from Doomsday.
it's actually entertaining. It's like, I remember being like really like into it.
Yeah.
And it happened in the comics, if I'm not mistaken. At some point, Batman had killed or crippled. He crippled Superman, or someone did. No, that was someone else. That was not Batman. But this is great. You were right though. It does look like a lightsaber.
Hmm.
That reminds me of the Da Vinci Code for some weird reason.
So when it's all said and done, there will be the Snyder trilogy will be 9.5 hours.
Oh my goodness, that's not bad.
So Man of Steel, this version of Batman versus Superman, and his version of his Justice League will be his 9.5 hour epic. Maybe it will continue someday. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they're talking about hashtag restore the Snyderverse, which basically means make his version of Justice League canon retroactively. And I don't know if you can do that. I haven't seen it. Is there enough in the movie that would change continuity and make that a problem? I have no idea. But if the movie is, if you can imagine in a way where it doesn't mess with continuity, then why not?
I remember this being funny that this was what they decided to connect to like wake up Batman with. But you know what? Like now that I've gotten used to it, or have had time from it, it doesn't really land that badly.
It's not as atrocious as people made it out to be.
Yeah,
It's a bit contrived, and it's a
I get why you want to make fun of it though, because it's like, what did you say that name? He's like he's crazy, right? Like, Lois comes just in time. I like that
uh,
Superman's the damsel in distress in this movie.
some people argue, it was kind of forced for Clark to say, "You're letting them kill Martha," like, and people were like, wouldn't he be saying, "You're gonna kill my mom"? And thinking back on it now and watching it again, I think maybe it crossed Superman's mind that if he just straight up said "my mom," that Batman wouldn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? But if he says a specific name, you're letting them kill Martha. Batman would
Well,
automatically.
we can give
Batman might assume that, oh wait, Martha, who is that a person? What's going on with Martha? And maybe stop.
well,
But
PJ, we could give
but
Clark
the
some
fact
credit. He did research on Bruce. He might know his mom's name is Martha, and
and
he might know in
oh,
that
you read my
moment.
mind. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah, he might
I
know. Yeah,
and yeah, this one was gonna. It goes back to like fleshing out his actually researching Batman,
yeah.
and like I said, it isn't made 100% clear if he finds out that Bruce is Batman, but you just
But
assume
you have a better sense of it
you
after
know you know
watching.
you know that it's probably just you assume
You have
that
a
he
better sense
knows.
of it after watching this movie with PJ, who really loves it.
I don't love it.
You actually, you do. You actually do. You've been defending it all night. I love it.
I haven't been defending it. I've been hating on it. I hate this movie.
Yeah,
Zack
right. You love
Snyder.
it. You love
Oh,
this movie. You love Zack Snyder.
toxic
You're
fandom.
you're a
Toxic.
Zodi.
All
You're a
they're all
Zodi,
just toxic
PJ.
fans.
By the way,
They harass people online, and that's all of them.
I object to them being called Zodis because Zodi is like a sexy daddy in that's how I knew that word. Oh, I forgot the bat wings in it.
Yeah.
It's a spaceship now. It can make spaceship sounds. She's got to get rid of that shit.
I'm afraid this is goodbye. You die now, barbecue style. I will. I like later when he goes, "I'll kill her. I'll do it."
That looks kind of like
Yeah.
a toy plane, a video game plane. I think I like the Christopher Nolan tech the most of all the Batmans.
Yeah, Nolan tried to do so many things practically, and when he does do the CG Batwing thing in Dark Knight Rises, he does a nice. It's a nice blend. There actually
Yeah,
is a full practical machine that they use on set for that, that like hovers on a rig, and then they cut to a CG version of it. It's seamless. It's very well done. This looks fake as fuck, and like I said, this is the kind of CG that shows like Star Trek Discovery does, where it's like layered with haze and dirt, and it's over layering where it kind of looks like a painting. You know what I mean? It looks doesn't look
right.
real. It looks. And as a filmmaker, you should always go for photorealism when you're doing visual effects. It's just that fucking simple. And like I said, we only notice the CG that's bad. Like there's
That
a
was a
lot of CG that
clever
there's yeah, that was good. There's a lot of
thing.
CG that's really good that we just don't notice. But that floor looks fake as
Yeah.
fuck even. Now I love the scene and all this stuff. But I don't agree with the fact that he gets shot in the head, I think once or twice. And it doesn't like at least knock him out. It doesn't make any sense. Because
Mm.
the cowl isn't armored. And neither is his fucking suit, which boggles my mind.
It's lead
It's
lined.
it's well, I don't know.
It has to be for
This suit,
yeah. Like he may have upgraded it before fighting Superman. He might have thought he had to
no,
shed
no, no.
the.
He gets you know, it's his cloth. He gets stabbed and
Hmm.
shit, right?
I don't know. I don't think
Th-
so.
This is not a. This is not. Look at that blood out of the back of the head. They had to cut that out of the theatrical version, by the way. The blood. They showed the guy
Batman's
hitting the.
cape used to be a bulletproof device, right? Like he used to use it more.
The fact that a
What
cape could
version
be a bulletproof device is
is
absurd.
kind of
Is
awesome?
yeah, no,
No,
it's
but it
absurd
makes
as
sense. Yeah,
fuck.
Batman tech's always been a little. Come on,
You would
right?
have to
Like that.
hold the cape tight. You would have to. It would have to be taut for it to
I'm
have
pretty
any
sure.
impact.
I'm pretty sure they made the Michael Keaton Batman cape bulletproof, if I'm not
Those
mistaken.
movies aren't realistic. His cape goes from cloth to like hard glider. It makes no sense.
We should watch those. They're very realistic. They're just very stylized, just like this is. It's just a different style.
Well, none of it's realistic, really.
Yeah, yeah. We're that's true.
But sometimes believability is a thing, and you can have a Batman doing all this stuff. It's just that don't show dude shoot him in the
Well,
head. Don't show
yeah.
dudes shoot him in the head at point blank range, and him just go ugh and shake it off. Like, come on, give me a fucking break. You know the impact of a bullet straight to your head, no matter what kind of layering fucking you
Come
have
on,
there.
Batman's got programmable matter, PJ.
Yeah, right. Catching the bullets and spitting them back out.
Catches. Pew, pew, pew.
I like this part. Oh, yeah, he breaks through the wall like Jason fucking Voorhees. I'll kill her. Believe me, I'll do it. I believe you. And this kind of stuff, like that, looks like why I don't understand. I don't understand. I've seen people on freaking YouTube do tutorials where they do like photorealistic explosions and stuff and effects for their little movies, and movies themselves with huge budgets where the VFX are
I
sent to
honestly, I
warehouses
honestly think you're
can't
like,
do it as good as a fucking YouTuber. I don't understand
I
why
honestly think you have a
explosions and
better
smoke
eye than,
look so fucking bad in movies nowadays. It's ridiculous. It makes no fucking sense.
you know what it is? It's
It's there's
like
no excuse for it.
there is an excuse for it. It's like if you
It's
could
called
save,
timing. If you don't have the time to work on the effects, I understand. But come
yeah,
on.
no,
These
hundred
movies
percent,
cost a
man.
ridiculous amount of money, and you
I
can't
think
make
you're being,
smoke look real.
I think
Like, give me a
you're
fucking break.
just, I think you're being unreasonable
You
at this
saying
point.
you saying I love this movie?
Yeah, I think you do. You're just not. That doesn't. It's not even like it's such a nitpick to get crazy about.
No, but it's consistent through the Snyder movies. That's one thing I don't appreciate.
Do better,
He gets
Snyder.
to a point where he's looking at the fucking visual effects and he's like, I
Do
guess that's
better.
enough.
Hire
I
us
guess
as
that's
your visual
okay.
consultants. Definitely hire
Oh
PJ as your
yeah,
visual.
all that Batwing stuff looks fake as fuck. The Batmobile looks fake as fuck. I guess it's okay. And he's okay with that stuff. That's my nitpick about him as a filmmaker, is that
Yeah, I noticed.
he lets these really shitty special effects just slide. And that's what I'm. That's why I keep bringing up Michael Bay. Like, he's a shitty filmmaker, and who's very anal about how photorealistic his visual effects look, which makes his films at least worth watching in that respect. But yeah, it's weird. If you can combine Michael Bay's visual effects sensibilities with Zack Snyder's kind of like
They need to
mythical
date.
storytelling abilities, it would be perfect.
They need to date. This is so interesting. I don't remember this. I forgot about this thing.
Blood of my blood.
What is it called again?
What is what called?
They have a name for the creature guy.
I don't know.
Doomsday,
Everybody just
right?
know. Yeah, Doomsday.
Doomsday. That's what it was.
I love how Lex Luthor is so insane that he thinks this thing won't immediately kill him, and it tries to. Like, the first thing it tries to do is murder him. It's like, Dada, you did.
I wish it was more
See,
Zod and less monster. Like to me, it's like very like Lord of the Rings. What is that creature thing?
yeah, the orc. I don't
The
know.
giant
It's a
thing.
combination
Yeah,
between that giant and an orc, that
yeah.
giant creature they have in those movies.
Oh, dude.
Now,
And
the visual
why
effects are an
doesn't it have a
improvement
peen?
over
I don't
Man of
understand.
Steel. I know I'm bashing the explosions and stuff, but it is an improvement over Man of Steel. It's not 100% like some of Doomsday's shots, and that's the thing with CGs. It all depends on the
Why
lighting
doesn't it
around
have
them
a
and the
peen?
environment that they're in. All
Did
the,
Zod not have a peen? Does Superman not have a peen?
it all depends on like the lighting and situation,
No,
and
look, it
also the
has
way they
the.
move. So if like
It was born with underwear, or like nothing, like a nub. Do you see? Do you see? Like, why does? What happened to it? Did Luther do that to me? Are you just? Are you mad that I'm focused on that? I'll stop. That's kind of a little homage to King Kong, maybe.
Oh, well, yeah, the reason why Doomsday doesn't have a penis is because they wanted people to watch the movie. And all anybody would have been talking, and like realistically, I could have went all Watchmen with Doctor Manhattan style,
I think so.
and had that. But that's the thing. That's all anybody would have been talking about. By the way, I never told you the story of the time that I went and saw Watchmen in theater for the first time.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't enjoy it. Actually, the part of the reason why I bought the director's edition of that movie was because I didn't get a chance to really enjoy it in the theater.
Because you were too distracted by the.
No, no.
What was
There was these girls in my row. It was a packed theater. Everybody
and
was
they would
perfectly
giggle.
behaved. But everybody was perfectly behaved. And this is what happens. This is what happens in fucking theaters. You go into a theater, a packed theater, and everybody's on their best. Everybody's respectful and all this shit. And you get these one or two fucking people every time. It's like clockwork. Oh, you can kind of point them out early too, right? Oh, these people are gonna talk the whole time, or these people are gonna be obnoxious or be on the phone and shit, right? This doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. When I went to see Watchmen, right?
Oh, geez, look
I'm
at
watching the
that.
movie, right? I'm watching the
Holy
movie.
shit.
Okay, I gotta tell my story, man.
I know, no, sorry. I just that was like I forgot about that effect.
I don't care about this
There's
movie
Anderson
anymore.
Cooper.
I don't care about this movie. I gotta
That's
tell the story about
hilarious.
Watchmen. So anyway, uh, as soon as Doctor Manhattan comes in with the thing shown, and any other time he is on screen with the thing shown, right?
Hmm.
There are these girls, and they can't keep it together. They're laughing, they're giggling, they're going, oh, there it is! Oh my god! Oh my god, look, there it is! There it is! Oh my god! Every fucking time. And this was the whole movie. And I'm not joking, dude.
Why didn't you like leave?
People were visibly irritated around them. And nobody, this is how polite everybody is. Nobody told them to shut the fuck up. If that was America down there somewhere, I'm sure people would have been like, shut the fuck up by then.
Yeah,
But the
100%.
whole movie, these girls are like, oh! And they were teenage, like little teenage girls. I'm like, you are you so sheltered that you completely lose your shit every time you see a CGI blue fucking ween on the screen? Fucking same thing with Gravity too.
Well, they should have put
These old these it was a
Doomsday
couple of
should have
people
had
in the theater, and these two old women weren't there to watch the movie, dude. They were there to talk about everything in their lives that was going on out
This is
loud.
therapy for PJ.
And
This
you know
part
what?
right
You know
here.
what? I had to watch Gravity again on fucking video because I saw it in theater. I'm like, I couldn't enjoy that movie, so I had to
Yeah, I
watch it
guess
again
our
later
audience
on.
I haven't seen a disrespectful audience in the
No,
theaters
these
here in the
particular
United States.
instances are far and few between. I'm not saying this. Like I said, this doesn't
Just
happen every time.
okay.
But when it
I was
does,
gonna say
like
Canadians are bad.
John went to see John Wick 3. These two packed theater. By the way, when I saw the first John Wick, it was me and another guy, and that was it. When I saw the third John Wick, these teenagers were on. One guy kept showing this dude, and you could see it Facebook. It was something on Facebook, and he kept showing, and they were talking about something that's going on on the online and the fucking social media, and they weren't watching the movie, and they were just giggling and like carrying on, and like nobody was there but them, and nobody was saying anything. And I had a flashback to the Watchmen time about how these two girls throughout the whole fucking movie wouldn't shut up. Well, every time Dr. Manhattan was there, and nobody said anything. And I was thinking, I'm an hour into this fucking John Wick movie, and these guys have been at it the whole time. So they're like three, 4 rows down from me. I lean over. I say, hey, they don't even know I exist. And I go, hey, like that. And everybody's looking at me. I said, put the phone away. And that's all I said. And I gave them a look like I was going to fucking murder them. And I sat down. And anyway, they didn't. The dude kept looking back at me like all weird shit. And it ruined my experience of John Wick 3. The whole movie, I was just, fuck you. You're deliberately trying to ruin everybody's
It's really-
enjoyment. Or you are so obnoxious that you're not even aware that people are around you. Like, I don't understand that mentality. And you know what? People talk about, oh, I miss the theater. I miss the theater. I want to go back to the theater. One of the best things that come out of this whole thing is the
You
fact that I
really
get to
don't
watch
like this
shit at
movie. I
home.
thought I thought you liked this movie, but you don't.
No, this is the bullshit part. Anytime I ever talk about this movie, I always say, this cut is good, but the third act is always the third act. Like, they
That's
don't,
funny.
it doesn't solve all of this CGI nonsense. Like, I get flashbacks of Man of Steel where I'm looking at nothing, and I'd rather talk about my negative experiences at the theater than watch it.
Those stories were really bringing back some memories of people yelling at my friends and I in the theaters when we were teenagers. You were those assholes that yelled at us when we were talking only before the movie started. We never talked during the movies.
Uh, Me and my cousin went to see South Park back in 1999. We weren't allowed in, but they let us in anyway. They let anybody into a fucking movie back then. Uh, and we were almost kicked out of the movie. You know why? For laughing.
Hmm.
We were laughing at the funny parts, and we were laughing out loud. And
That's weird.
the usher came up to us, and all he said was, "Guys, you're gonna have to keep it down, or you're gonna leave." And I remember like, what? And here's the funniest thing. There were only fucking like 5 to 10 people
This
in the
is so
theater.
gross. Like seeing him
There's
all
only
shriveled up
five to
like that.
ten people in shit. 5 to 10 people in the theater, right? This is like 21, 22 years ago. 5 to 10 people in the theater. So one of those douchebags, and not a lot of people. Nobody was laughing except us. So apparently, people were there who didn't like the movie, weren't laughing at it, weren't enjoying it, and the fact that we were laughing at it was pissing them off. And they actually went out and told an usher, I can't enjoy this movie. They're laughing at it. It's fucking South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. It's an absurd comedy.
It is
It's like
hilarious
it's
too.
like I went to World Police, and that was a different experience altogether. Everybody was just laughing at that. People were just laughing at it, like you should in a movie.
Whoa,
And
that's
I actually
intense.
I had a much better
Eye
time watching
laser.
World Police than South
Oh
Park.
look, there she is. I
And it
forgot
wasn't the
about
first. And
that.
it wasn't the first time the usher came up to us and fucking told
This
us
is
to.
great. I'm the only one watching this movie at this point. Blue's not there. You're not watching this movie. I have to say
So
this is
just
the best
imagine
part
you're
of
in
the
a comedy.
movie.
You're in
It's
a
funny
fucking
that we're the
comedy, and
opposite.
somebody
I was bored with the
and you're
beginning of this.
you're in a
You're
comedy
getting
movie where the whole intention is for you to fucking
look at this
laugh,
explosion.
and
Oh
then
no 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 no! Look at that. Come on, PJ. You're not entertained by this at all. You were like loving on this movie and you hate this part. I don't believe you. You really hate
you
this
do
part?
realize I'm so riled up because you constantly try to make me not talk, and the more you do it, the more I keep it up. So I'm just gonna give you a break.
That's not what's happening. I'm sorry. Go ahead, tell your story, PJ.
Hey, hey, manager of the theater. Yeah. I'm in there watching this comedy, and there's these people laughing, and I can't really enjoy the movie because they're laughing. Can you do something about it? And then the manager's like, okay, you got to go in there into that movie. That's a comedy where people are supposed to laugh and tell people not to laugh, or you will kick them out. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Usher? Yes, sir. I have shit for brains as well. So that was my South Park incident. Now I'm done. Now I'm done. Hey, 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 Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Want to go see John Wick 3 tonight? Yeah, what are we gonna do when we're there? I don't know. Watch the movie? Hey, I got a better idea. Let's fucking play on our phones for the whole time and fucking laugh and giggle like nobody's around us and we don't give a fuck about anybody else but ourselves. That sounds like a good plan, Jimmy. Hey, we're two geriatrics in the daytime. Let's go see that George Clooney movie where he's in space. But while we're there, we're gonna talk about our families and like what happened last year at Christmas and fucking who's going to college in the family and whatnot. And we're not even gonna look at the screen and pay attention to the movie Gravity starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. We're just gonna talk about our day. By the way, we're at 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 35 seconds. I'm deliberately trying to think of other instances now in theaters. Damn it. Can't think of any more. Those were the main ones. Oh, yeah. Well, this is a minor one, but I went and saw Spider-Man Far From Home, and this dude was doing like hand stuff next to me the whole time, like, jittery hand stuff, like tapping, and like he had like a wedding ring on or something. He kept taking it off and putting it on the other hand, and like he was constantly moving his hands. I understand people are like that. Some people just have that kind of like tick. They can't stop doing something. But like when they're right next to you and they're constantly actually, Blue Spark, I've only mentioned. I can only in my whole life I've gone to like hundreds of movies. Those were the main ones. Those are the big ones. Anything else I can think of are like minor. Like Gravity is the big one where the people were talking the whole way through. Watchmen was a big one where they were the girls wouldn't shut up every time Dr. Manhattan was on screen. I don't even think he had to be naked. I just think like they were just. I can't believe a movie is showing stuff like this. It's like very new to them, I suppose. And John Wick 3, yeah, that was really irritating. Not many other ones. There was a time I saw one movie and no, like sometimes people like kick the seats. I don't mind that so much if that happens every now and again. I know I was with somebody whose seat was getting kicked and I could feel it, and the girl behind her I think was doing it on purpose just to piss this girl off, and we couldn't move because it was packed. It was the Hangover, and I remember I was enjoying myself and she wasn't because she's like, this bitch behind me, I'm gonna say something to her, and she never did. But yeah, those were the three main ones. Most people are respectful. Like most times, it's like excellent. But you do get those times where just like somebody's like, I don't want anything to do with this movie that I paid to see. That irks me. I don't even mind people talking in shit movies. It's when they don't care about being in a theater. If you're into the movie and you're reacting to it, somebody was shushed at Avengers Endgame. It wasn't me. But this guy in the back row, I always choose the back row, and this guy in the back row was kind of like reacting to some parts. It's like, oh, like, he's being a bit vocal, which I don't mind at all. I mean, dude's into the movie, right? Two seats down from me, leaned over to his left where he was, and he's like, shh, like shushed him. And the dude shut up and never spoke a word the whole time. And then at the very end, I can't remember the very last shot, but at the very end of the movie, it cut to black. The movie was fucking over. And I said, wow. I reacted. I said to the guy next to me, and the guy next to him was the guy who shushed. And the dude fucking looks at me, gives me a look like he's going to shush me just because I spoke. So I'm like, there are people in the theater like who don't even want anybody to make noise or to do anything. But I just don't like when people they're not interested in the movie that's playing right at the moment. For instance, Batman v Superman. People who are just like not paying attention to the movie they're supposed to be watching is very irksome to me. I don't appreciate it. Yeah, Starfleet boys. He's like fuck you, and he's fucked off now.
No, I'm here. I was just letting you talk because you said I keep making you not talk, so I stopped. And it was very interesting to hear what you had to say because I think actually, with you telling your
And that's
stories
another
behind
thing.
all that insane
And that's another
action.
thing when you talk about a couple of bad experiences. It's
No,
the weird
but
mentality
I was
of
just,
you've had nothing but bad experiences. It's just like
who said
people who
that?
complain.
Oh, Blue said
It's
that.
just
Blue
like
said
people
that.
who complain about Snyder fans and say, "Oh, they organized campaign to harass and bully people their way to get a movie, so these toxic fans won." I'm like, you know, a couple of bad apples just spoiled a whole bunch. That's just the way it is. It was fandom. Same thing with Star Trek fans. I've had people tell me like, "Fucking Star Trek and Star Wars fans are crazy. Your people are fucking. You hate everything." And I'm like, "No, I'm in the fandom." I said that's not the case. I said people are critical of stuff, but then some people are outright hating stuff. But same thing with the Snyder stuff. It's like it seems to be people either hate or love Snyder. It's like some kind of like deep personal bias against him, or it's an appreciation for his art form. I'm in the middle. Like, I could give a fuck about Snyder and shit, but I don't mind watching his interpretations of these characters. I mean, I'm not offended by it. I just wish they'd let him do what he intended to do originally.
Seems
Yeah.
like they did pretty much give him that opportunity later.
Yeah, later, yeah.
Um,
Not initially, yeah.
yeah.
I'm losing my voice now.
But he may have used it's possible, I don't know, some of the critiques I hear from folks like Father is that he might be using these bad apples to his advantage to get pressure on the studios or executives to like, let him make these movies. So some might say that he was a tyrant in the way that he went about it. But then again, the Hollywood machine is very
Yeah,
tough, you know.
I know it's like it's who's tracking what toxic tweet Zack Snyder is retweeting that somehow makes him culpable for some
I'm
asshole's
not. I'm
behavior
not
on the internet.
interested in
You know what I
Zack
mean?
Snyder particularly, but yeah.
This whole cancel culture and guilt by association is so fucking overdone now. It's like YouTubers if one you okay, I'll give you an example. John Campy has a guest on his Robert Meyer Burnett who's on shitty channels that are really bad sometimes, and some of John Campion's fans don't like that, and they're like, "Why do you associate with him when he's on these channels that deliberately spread information, misinformation, and are full of shit and whatnot?" And it's like, well, he's not the same person. It's not the same thing. You can't. It's like Snyder happening to have fans that are fucking weird loser assholes that bully and harass people, which isn't in the majority, by the way, of people. Like you see articles people talking about Snyder fandom like they're the worst fucking thing in the world. I'm like, that's so unfair because I get that as a fan of Star Trek and stuff. Like I've had people like, yeah, people are all fucking crazy, all you weirdos. Like they look
I
at
will
you
just say
weird.
that I will just say that I feel like if that's the case, then there should be no harm in uh and I'm speaking from no knowledge, so maybe you know better, but there should be no harm in him releasing like even just saying like people who are doing these and making using these tactics of bullying are not people that I would consider my fans and I reject them and their ways or whatever, so has that
Yeah, and
statement been made
that's
as
another
far as
thing.
you know?
It's not anybody. It's not his responsibility to go out to every fucking tweet that has the hashtag release the Snyder cut that has a
Oh,
bit
he
of
doesn't have to
vitriol
do
in it
it to
and say
every tweet,
no, no,
but
no,
has he made a statement?
disavow them
But
and all
he's
this.
made a statement that you know of that's like,
See, that's the thing.
kind of like to make
Why
up for
should
that.
any why should
Oh, hold on, you cut out.
person make a
Sorry,
comment?
hold on.
Why should any
Let me
person have to remind
plug
people
this
of
thing back
common
in.
sense things?
Hold
Why
on,
should a
sorry.
filmmaker have to come out and
Of
say that?
course, the technology
That
cuts out
that
right
that
at the most important part of my question, the answer.
what? Hello? Are you there? What happened? Something happened.
My audio cut out. Something happened with my audio, so I didn't hear your answers.
I mean, it's not it. It's not Zack Snyder's responsibility to come out and say there are bad people out there. Ignore them. Like
Sure, but he could.
nobody
The,
needs to be told to ignore assholes on the internet. We should know this by now. Like we should know, and you know what? Father, people have argued with me like all the toxic. I followed the Snyder Cut hashtag for the last year and something. I've not seen any of this stuff, like the harassment and the bullying and stuff. Like I look at it and it's not there enough for somebody who checks it on a regular basis or is interested in the topic to even notice. So I find when people put people are so addicted to shitting on fandom now. Somehow the word fandom is toxic. They've ruined the word fandom. Fandom now is synonymous with me, like me now, like angry white man type of thing. You know what I
yeah, it's
mean?
kind of on the nose there.
Like
I
very.
think that yeah, I think you feel strongly about it from what I can tell. I don't feel that strongly as you do. I don't really care. I just think it's stupid that if there are if I were a famous person and there were people complaining that people, I would just release a statement and just say like, oh, you know what? I didn't know about these people.
And it's
Thanks
like
for bringing it to my attention, and they're not really Snyder fans or whatever, and that's it.
he's
Like
not the
simple as
pres.
that.
He's not the president of the United States who must
Sure, but he
disavow
he
white
seems
nationalists.
to
That's a political thing. I
he
mean,
seems to draw like a crowd though.
you have a president who has Nazis as Trump supporters. In that case, a
PJ,
man
it's
has a
simple. It's not his
responsibility to go out and disavow those people.
PJ.
But if a
It's
dude
simple.
has
It's not
toxic,
his responsibility,
if
but it's a nice
if a
thing to
filmmaker
do.
has toxic fans, it's not his responsibility to go out and say, I am aware I have toxic fans. They're fucking assholes. Fuck
I
them."
love whenever they play
It's
Amazing
not his
Grace in a movie.
responsibility. Zack Snyder has
Um,
no responsibility to disavow people who have no business being paid attention to in the first place. And you know what the beautiful thing about Twitter is? There's a fucking block feature. And that's what people. Everybody loves being outraged by everything, but when at the same time they could just choose to ignore it. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I
Oh
just
yeah,
think that
Amazing Grace. Yeah, yeah.
I just hope you. I hope that you. Uh, you know, I hope that you're right. Is all I guess I got to say. I've heard a lot of the opposite of what you're saying about Zack Snyder and Zack
And
Snyder
that's the thing.
fans and
You've
stuff like
heard a
that.
lot. You've heard a lot.
Yeah, I've already
It's
told
the
you.
same
I
kind of
haven't.
gossip circle we
It,
get in real life,
okay.
where somebody's whole narrative is based on what you heard.
Oh, it's a cool casket.
And
I
you know
didn't
what I'm
notice
saying?
that.
Like it's
So if I go and do the research and find out the opposite and present it to you, are you going to
if you
believe
go
me?
to the places where people are doing nothing but talking about Snyder fans being toxic, then you will believe that Snyder fans are toxic. Like for me, for example, I used to be in Star Trek groups and shit. If I had stayed there, I would have grown to hate Star Trek. I honestly would, because I would make friends there, and we would exchange great ideas. And I remember one time I complained about the trailer for fucking Discovery because the CG was crap in that original trailer of just the ship. I complained about that one time. I had this person who I had respect for, and we had a great exchanges turn on me, tell me I was a piece of shit. I didn't know what I was like. Really fucking tore me apart. And that's happened to me more than one occasion. And that's where you get the idea of certain vitriolic motherfuckers who seem on the level, and then they're like, "Oh no, you're a piece of shit." You find out like you're just an actual toxic fan. They somehow pollute the water. You know what I mean? They make it so that it's some people. I know I'm being an example of a toxic fan right now, I suppose.
I think you just sound angry, not
I'm not really
toxic.
complaining about any particular fandom. I'm just complaining about the perception of that. Just the very idea of fandom now seems to be a negative thing, and I that kind of breaks my heart.
I can't remember fandom ever being viewed by society at large as a positive thing. I've always felt like when I was growing up that being a fan of Star Trek was certain things. Like you could be a sports fan and everyone's okay with you, but I always felt growing up that being a Star Trek fan was looked down upon. I was actually like ridiculed for it, things like that. So I'm not sure that fandom ever got cool. Maybe it did for a second with the popularity of Comic Con and things like that, but that quickly, like, I think there's like
it
people who identify a little too much with uh you know a particular story, and
yeah,
like we do. I mean, I admit that I'm like super invested in Star Trek as a story and as like a icon or whatever you want to call it. But I would
yeah,
say that, like, yeah, fandom has always kind of been viewed, in my opinion, as like a place where, kind of fanatics, for lack of a better word, gather. And I actually avoided, quote unquote, being a fan of anything for like many, many years. I've recently started trying to like show my, fanaticism for Star Trek a lot more. But my fanaticism, I'm lucky because I tend to like everything. So I don't come, people don't really, have a quarrel with me. So I can
yeah,
understand when you critique something, as you and Sean often do, where, you're trying to be fair and like you're trying to look at it from like a larger perspective of like, the
yeah.
filmmaking and the story. So I can understand totally like why you would get frustrated with like people just associating you as like a negative person or a negative fan or whatever. Like I hate most of this movie except for the ending. So I'm sure I'll be toxic to someone. I try to use words like community, Star Trek community, intentionally to explain something that's like a little bit different from fandom, quote unquote. Um, like I don't want to be a part of any movement against Star Trek or for Star Trek per se.
Yeah.
I just want to enjoy it, and like
And it,
and enjoy it with others. And that's what I think community does as opposed
it
to fandom.
in the case of the Snyder fandom, I think it's wrong for journalists and stuff to say like the toxic things like it's just provocative phrases and buzzwords. The toxic fans have won. They've gotten their Snyder cut. So it's kind of like implying that anybody who wished for the Snyder cut, like I could care either way, but I'm excited for it. I want it. I want to see a better version of that Justice League movie, of course. But I don't. I'm
And
not.
we've
I
proven
don't want
through
to be
these.
lumped. I don't want to be lumped into a group. So it almost makes people fearful of being a fan of something because you've got to be against something automatically. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a DC fan, I've got to be against Marvel. If I'm a Marvel fan, I got to be against DC. Same thing with Star Wars and Star Trek are a little bit more interchangeable. Like a lot of Star Trek fans are Star Wars fans. That's just a fact. But with comic book stuff, it's very fucking divisive. We know people who don't want the Batman. I don't
The
want a bad
what?
bat. I don't want the Batman that kills. But I'm
Oh,
willing.
right.
I'm willing to
Gotcha.
watch an interpretation of where he is like that. Like maybe we will get a Batman show like Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, where it's a good balance. You know what I mean?
Mellower and more true to the
Yeah.
the the like original intentions of the character, I suppose. But
The
I
bells have already
ultimately,
been
I just don't think
rung.
these three films. I think ultimately, like, as like interesting as they are, I'm almost confident in saying that like when the next iteration of Superman and comes out, and if it's amazing, this will just be like something you watch once in a while. But everyone's going to be focused on whatever's like the better version at the time. You know what I mean? I don't
Here's
think these
Jesse
movies.
Eisenberg overacting to the full extent. He's found us.
Yeah.
He's talking about Darkseid. Ding 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 ding. That's the sound of the mother boxes, right? Ding 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 ding.
That's right.
I like this. I like the music here, the viola or whatever it is.
This is Hans Zimmer still, right, for this movie?
Yeah, and Junkie XL does replaces Hans Zimmer's score for Justice League,
Oh,
or
gotcha.
incorporates probably different elements of it. I don't know.
Look, those guys don't have peens either. That makes sense now. Demons don't have peens. That answers the question. See, if you wait long enough and watch a movie, you get the answer you wanted.
Um, did you ever think because um oh well that wouldn't make sense. Maybe Zod is the first generation of the or no wait no that wouldn't make sense either. I was gonna say if Zod was genetically engineered, he wouldn't
Oh,
have
they all
one.
don't have them. Yeah. Oh my God.
But that wouldn't make sense because Jor-El and his wife get nasty.
He's a scientist. He could have grown one. He could have
True
like
that.
fixed
Yeah.
himself. Oh
You
man.
could have used that programmable matter.
Matter.
We will use the
Wow.
programmable matter to make a boy child. His cells will drink its sun's radiation. You get the little dirt lifting up there, implying that Superman's going to come back. Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
knew Superman was coming back anyway.
Yeah.
There's no his death had almost it no real impact except to serve like a larger story, I guess, or to keep him out of the Justice League movie for so long.
Yeah, like to bring him in because he's just so powerful. Like, you need them to get like a foothold or whatever.
Uh,
I can say that I
did I
enjoyed
piss you off? Did I
watching.
piss you off at my ranting?
No, I was just trying to be a respectful guest when you told me that I was
I was
rude.
th- I
When
was
you told
thinking
me
in
I
the
was
back of
being
my mind. I
rude.
was thinking in the back of my mind, he's gonna like leave in a second if I
No,
keep
I wouldn't
talking
leave.
like
I
this.
would never leave you on a show. Afterwards I would cuss you out if I was
Yeah, you'd
mad.
be like, you're an asshole.
Yeah, but I would never do that to you on a show.
I
I would
was
be
just
super
talking about
professional.
my theater experiences. That's
Yeah, no,
all.
no.
Like,
I was
it's
interested. It was just that it was overwhelming because the visuals. I'm watching it full screen. I was watching it full screen, and just since we're not on camera,
I
so I
think
could
my
just like talk.
emotions match the movie's
Well, when I did
visuals.
shut
Yeah,
up, I have to say that I was just watching the visuals but listening to your stories. It's the best commentary. If people actually listen to it, like that's the best thing to overlap over those visuals. Like, go back and
like
watch it.
somebody freaking out about
Yeah,
their
about
theater
the yeah, it's
experiences.
like the best. It's so entertaining, and I think even Blue Sparrow was laughing at it, and I felt bad because I thought you would take that personally,
And
but
they
at
were
the same
like,
time,
no, they were like, you seem to have a lot of bad experience. I'm like, I was only talking about three experiences. I've been to hundreds of movies.
yeah. So I was, so that's why I wasn't mad. I was actually just like, oh, this is actually really good, and I was like enjoying watching the movie and listening to your story. Um, oh yeah, see, Blue says, "LOL, it was great."
This is the
Our
longest stream I've ever done ever
no, I
for
know it's
anything.
intense. I think we were quiet sometimes, but that's okay. Like you don't have to talk the whole time. I think that's my problem is I think you have to talk the whole time when you're on a live stream. Um,
Is there a post credit? There is a post credit, right?
I don't know. I guess we're waiting on the credits. Okay, Trekkie, when you rewatch the rest of this, let PJ know if it's entertaining to hear him rant over the visuals of of that fight scene.
Yeah, that Doomsday stuff. I when I watched this movie,
I
when like
appreciate this movie a lot more because before you went on your it's interesting that the part that I find the least interesting of this film, I find more interesting now because of um your comparisons from the theatrical to the it's cool that you wrote that, piece because that is a valuable thing that made it better actually for me to watch because I learned a lot about why I was uninterested or confused when I left the theater. Like I didn't care. The battle was all that I remembered, and it is a
yeah,
great battle, by the way. For me, I liked it. It's a lot better than the battle in until it becomes like um, seizure inducing with all the flashing lights and the flashing jets of energy and all that stuff. Like, why does kryptonite? You know, what's powering the kryptonite?
mm,
to make it like do that. You know what I mean? Like, is it the energy from, I don't know. It was just too. It was it was like the blowing the load stuff, but I liked it this time a lot better than the Man of Steel.
Okay, I'm just gonna do something while we're waiting for the credits here. Just bear with me.
Dun, dun, dun,
Oh, the suspense.
dun, dun, dun. Oh, look, they shot in New Mexico.
Theatrical cut of Batman
Okay,
vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
this is me.
My
This is
biggest
me
issue with the
5 years ago.
theatrical
Hold on.
cut of Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice was the disjointed nature of the entire film, especially in its early scenes. You could sense that scenes were missing, transitions were very rough. There was very
I
little
sounded
Clark
like
Kent.
Trump
Lex
just then.
Luthor's
Very
fucking
rough.
motivations
No, you
and
don't.
his overall plan weren't spelled out very clearly. Ben Affleck's version of Batman is the darkest and certainly the most disturbed on-screen version we've seen so far, and it is the best part of the film, the theatrical cut. But in a film with both Batman and Superman in the title, it doesn't feel like it's much of a Superman movie, and it leans very much toward Batman, while Superman is reduced to, like a supporting character for most of the film. Every one of those issues are resolved in the Ultimate Edition. The Africa subplot is explained, and the character of Kahini Ziri, I think that's how you say it, played by Wunmi Mosaku. She has a larger role that is relevant to the public perception of Superman and just the overall Lex Luthor plot. The scene transitions are better and make sense, and the story moves along much more organically. We actually see Clark Kent in Gotham investigating Batman and his crimes. And the narrative surrounding Batman going off the deep end is fully realized in Clark's discoveries, and when Lex makes Bruce feel even worse by taunting him through those cryptic messages.
You can hear my accent
Lex
more
is
in
good at
this.
fucking with people's heads, being, a head
Wait,
case
you cut out.
himself.
You could hear
The
what?
criminals who bear the Bat
You can hear
brand
my
are
accent
targets for
more in
death in
this.
prison. And one particular man
No,
who the
yeah, a
Bat
little bit.
branded is stabbed.
Oh shit! God damn it!
What just happened?
Motherfucker. My internet
Buffering.
is getting buggy. Yeah.
To death, and
Oh,
we
because you're
see that,
streaming
and
the
it's pretty,
movie still too, right?
it's
We're in
not
the
pretty.
I'm
credits.
not.
And we see KG Beast giving the order to an inmate during visitation, and we see him throughout the movie carrying out Lex Luthor's plans, and he's upgraded to, like a second in command, when in the theatrical cut he was more of an in the background henchman. It's apparent that the Ultimate Edition was the final cut. That should not have been cut down any further. They sacrificed story and a lot of Clark Kent for more Batman when they chopped this film up for its theatrical release. And I'm telling you, the Ultimate Edition balances both main characters beautifully, and their motivations are crystal clear. There's a scene where Clark is talking to the girlfriend of a recently deceased inmate who was, the guy was stabbed in prison. Batman put him away with the brand on him, and she tells Clark Kent in so many words, Batman will only listen to a fist. Like, you can't talk to him. So when Superman tries to talk to Batman right before they fight, and Batman won't listen, and Supes just goes after him, that scene makes more sense. And we get that Batman has no regard for the consequences of his actions, and Superman is, he fully understands that at that point in the film, which happens pretty late, and there's a lot of build up to that, and that was needed. That should not have been cut out.
So there was no post
Lois and
credits.
Perry also get more valued screen time.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And there are
There
more
was there
scenes
was
at
enough
the
in that
Daily
movie
Planet
anyway.
throughout.
Yeah, it's true.
There's also more news coverage of Superman shown, and scenes where Clark is, he's reacting in dismay, and that makes that adds to the character development. And there's a great scene where he calls his mother, and even the mountain scene with his ghost dad has more meaning. When the film includes scenes that better explain the emotional state of Kal-El and his eventual Jesus metaphor, the extended dual funeral scene packs a slightly more emotional punch. But, Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor still bothers me. And there isn't much action in the first 2 hours besides
I haven't
the
actually
scattered
watched this in
explosive
a long
event.
time.
And Doomsday is handled a little poorly. He's just, I don't know.
A little?
The end of that third act of that movie is my least favorite part.
This is in
But Batman
on
vs.
PJ's
Superman,
media
Dawn of
reviews.
Justice,
Yeah.
the Ultimate Edition is a great character
I
study
recorded
of
this
two of the
in
most iconic
2016 in like
superheroes in comic
October
book
or
history.
November or something.
And it's well worth watching. Just stay away from that other version that just should not have been. And Zack Snyder really deserves all those apologies for Warner Brothers fucking with him. If I was to give this version of the movie a score, I would give it an 8 out of 10. When previously I would have given it a 5.
Oh, look
So
at
that's
that.
3 points higher. Just adding more scenes.
But now you
scattered
lowered it to a
throughout.
7.
No, the third
7.5.
act is still the third
7.5.
act, but leading up to that is much more fleshed out.
You're allowed
much
to
more
change. You're allowed to
coherent.
change your scores because
So,
you change your opinion.
If anybody
over time.
hasn't
Oh,
seen
I'm
the
not
version yet,
criticizing
just
you.
watch
I'm
the
just
Ultimate
saying.
version.
It's
Do
different
Oh, yeah, I
now.
know.
Watch
Yeah.
the theatrical cut. And if you
I
watch both and you
100%
don't find
changed
that much of a
my
difference,
from day to day.
okay, but I found the theatrical cut made the audience
Depends
have
what
to
I ate
fill in a
for
lot of
dinner.
blanks, and you shouldn't have to make the audience work that hard to understand a story, and it really needed that 3 hours. So, yeah.
All right. Oh, thank you so much, Starfleet boy.
Thank you, PJ. That was fun. What are we doing tomorrow?
What
Oh,
the hell?
no.
What the hell is this?
What the hell is what?
Oh, I'm hearing something that you're not hearing. Never mind. I just shut it off.
Okay.
I thought it was being brought. It automatically went to the next video, and I was like, "What is that? Is that playing?" Anyway, thank you everybody, and thank
We'll
you.
probably
Lou-
talk about it
Lewisberg
offline, but
for
Thursday.
Thursday.
Are we
Something
doing a
happening
discussion?
Thursday.
Are we doing a discussion of the Snyder Cut?
It should be a discussion rather than a watch along.
Yeah,
Unless
it's 4
the only way you can do a watch along because there is chapters is to break it up. But yeah,
Right. No. I feel like that.
I can't wait to see. At the time of this recording, obviously, Zack Snyder's Justice League has not been released. It's like 2 days away. I don't know what. It is the sequel to this movie that we just watched, and is it going to be better than the 2017 Joss Whedon version? We're hearing that it is better. Definitely better. But how much better, I have no idea. I don't know. All right. Until next time, folks. I was going to say live long and prosper. What's a DC thing to say? Up and at them.
Up and at 'em.
Up and at them.